god, we're live. Hello. What's going on?
Yo.
Duh.
Yeah, that's right. I scared you, didn't I?
I was almost asleep, and now I can't sleep anymore. So thank you for that. Oh.
Like, yeah, I
What?
gave you the jolt of adrenaline you need.
Yeah, it's like, whoa. I actually didn't want to talk about this game because I was just lying that I like it. Just kidding.
What, that's been the facade that you've
Yeah.
erected for like nearly a month. Man, that game came out like nearly a month ago.
Damn, you're right.
Time flies when you're having fun.
I've been playing God of War games for over a month. And I guess
Yeah.
the same with Mural, I think, because Mural started the the other ones even before me, so there might even be more time there.
Kept on pushing that you should just do it again anyway.
Yeah. And so I did, and it was a good choice. Good choice, Heimers.
Well, it made us the experts, right? Our opinion on this game is better than everyone else's.
I mean, I've seen some things, and you know what? I would be okay saying yes to that.
We get to decide if the game is good or not.
Yeah. Only us. Anyone else, just don't bother.
Everyone else is kind of liars. They're pretending like they've played the other games or that they're incorporating them into their opinion when they're, really, they're just
Opinionado. Hey, look at us. How the turns have tabled. Look at me. I'm the host now. And I have my Dr. Pepper, and nothing else changes. Also, this is the first Forge with 3 people.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, there's only been one guest this whole time.
Is that the first time? I feel like I was on with Fringy before on something.
I don't think you were. I don't remember ever being on with you, Mubes.
I mean, I can just see.
Then fucking do it.
Because you weren't there when we talked about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Good God,
Sonic. No. That was a fun movie.
Yeah. Well, and now Mario's coming along to see who's going to be. Well, I mean, because Sonic is technically the king in terms of box office revenue for video game movies.
That's true. That is true. Yeah.
Mario's coming along to kick him off of that almost certainly. That film is probably going to make it. I wouldn't be surprised if that film makes $1 billion. Actually, that wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. There's a bunch of trailers that came out. The Mario one that looks visually yay, and then they started talking. I was like, I
think I spent a little bit. I've spent some time thinking about that Mario trailer. Actually, I think one of the problems that they have is that, when it comes to like adaptation, right? There'll be a lot of things that even if they adapt something that's pretty popular, there'll always be a portion of the audience that is like quite unfamiliar with it or knows nothing about it, or at the very least, even if they have a familiarity with it, it's not like Mario where like everybody knows what that is, or at the very least everybody knows who Mario is, and they know what he sounds like. And I think no matter what, with like, it's always going to be a hard thing to like have Mario just talk like a normal person, because everybody knows that he's like the let's go woohoo, like, that's who he is.
I just can't imagine him just having a conversation with someone in a normal voice. It's like, hey Peach, what's up? Yeah, I'm just gonna fight Bowser. You're in? It's like, chill, that's cool.
I don't know how long you want this Mario tangent to go for, but I find it frustrating that it probably wasn't even a consideration to make a film about Mario that has like minimal dialogue and just relies a lot on visuals and animation.
Yeah, it seems like the first thing you want to go for, right?
Well,
kinda.
No, well, the thing is no, because you want your celebrity voice cast, right? And like, you need your characters to talk.
Okay, let me say it differently. In a perfect world, you might want to consider that first.
Well, yeah, it's kind of why was it never entertained to try? I know like Mario is a meme and everything, but like I don't know, like it's pretty important. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a pretty important series. I feel like I guess that's the thing, though. I doubt it was even entertained, and similarly, I doubt it was even entertained to have Charles Martinet play Mario. I doubt that was ever entertained. They were always going to go with a celebrity voice, I bet.
Which is wild. which is I don't know.
It's wild, but at the same time, you remember like when Space Jam 2 came out and it was like Zendaya got like credited for playing Lola Bunny, but like everybody else, including because a guy who played Bugs Bunny also played Daffy Duck and he played a few other characters too, super versatile. He didn't get any billing because he's a voice actor.
No.
It's like the same as when they made that Ratchet and Clank movie that nobody watched.
There's a Ratchet and Clank movie?
Yeah, there is. They put like James Arnold Taylor. They put the voice actors for Ratchet, Clank, and Quark, the three main characters of the film, last. They put everybody else first because they're celebrities.
Okay.
So they got top billing over the people who are the main characters. Like there just seems to be that attitude where it accompanied the game, the like reimagining.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And then they actually intercut the footage from the film into the game, and it's really awkward.
That sounds weird and awful, actually. Sounds kind of awful.
Yeah. And it's I don't know, it just seems like indicative of that, right? Hey, maybe they did entertain the idea. I just imagine even if they did, it wasn't for very long.
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I think I get the distinct impression watching that trailer. It's like I know who really, really cared, and it was the artists and the animators.
Oh,
like,
for
that's
sure.
Very clear to me. They really cared. There's like a lot of little details and touches and nods to like the games that were injected with like the animations, the environments, obviously like a bunch of different characters from across the series showing up, different variations of like Shy Guys and Koopas and everything. And it looks great, like visually. It's like the best looking Illumination film
looks awesome
by far visually. It looks really great. But then but like everything about the script just screams like mediocre and generic.
It really does.
It just strikes me as like this is the possible script for a Mario movie.
we don't need to put in any more effort. Why would we? It's just video games. That's what it feels
like.
like.
A lot of people would accept that because it's like, well, Mario is a meme, right? Like, I feel like Mario, in terms of like the way that it's discussed on the internet, it's very difficult to escape the meme culture surrounding it. But like, I don't know, man. I don't know. Do you guys remember the ending of Super Mario Galaxy? Do you remember that?
It's been too long for me. I don't.
Mubes, do you remember it?
Not really.
Well, the ending was there's like this massive black hole that gets created after Mario defeats Bowser, like when he's trying to create his new galaxy at the center of the universe to take over the universe. And like everything is starting to collapse into it. And then there's this little moment where like all of the Lunas that you interact with like throughout the game like basically sacrifice themselves to save Mario and everybody from getting sucked into the black hole.
Oh.
And it's like this really, it's like kind of this unexpected moment of I don't know, did I say Luna? Yeah, the Lumas.
Okay.
And it's just like, I don't know, man, like that was them sort of making an effort to like inject a little bit of story into their little Mario game, you know? It's kind of like neat.
Lumas.
Yeah. Like you don't have to I don't know. It's yeah, well, maybe it'll be good. I doubt it, but maybe it'll be good.
Yeah. We also had
By the way, just
go ahead.
Just the thing with Callisto Protocol, I caught as saw my tweet saying no about the Steam review.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, I was gonna give it a shot. It looks like he did." He gave it, I think, either an hour or two, and he refunded it on stream.
Oh shit! Did it not work, or is it because it was bad?
He's got a hyper powerful beastly computer, and what I saw from his complaints were it doesn't run well, and it's a fucking annoying game to play. Or at least I don't know if that was to do with performance entirely or not.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Because I heard that like people with like beefy computers, like 3080s, 40 whatever's, it's like it's stuttering, goes to low 20s FPS. Like, oh, that shouldn't happen.
Yeah, it just seems to be like absurdly bad optimization. And the thing is
so unfair. We know what happened. It got sacrificed for Ragnarok. That's what
happened. Well, I guess so, right? But the thing that's been pointed out as well, though, by a lot of people is like even putting to one side the technical issues, what it has to offer isn't that interesting or great. Like the game itself is not that great or interesting.
That's what I've heard. Yeah. Do you remember? This is such a fucking silly reference for what I'm trying to get at. But
all right.
There's an episode in Buffy where a character needs to cast a spell, and they basically there's two people, one person standing on their left, one person standing on their right, and they're a bit of a dodgy character. That's all I'll say. Fringy might remember this, might not. It's season 7. I'm just going to remain nice and vague. They're not quite getting that spell done. It's not quite working. So they draw like life force out of the person on their left and right, and then they can cast the spell, and it goes well. But it's just a dodgy moment of like, oh shit, what did you just do to those people? That is Ragnarok casting spells. Scorn and Callisto Protocol were the people on the left and right. Both of them went down, and we got it. That's how it works. Because remember, Arcane cost us huge. We had shit tons of terrible TV shows after
Dude, we're in for a horrible 2023.
Well, who knows, right? I mean, in this case, it might be that Callisto Protocol dies so that Dead Space can live once more. You know, like it's because now it's on Dead Space, right?
Phoenix
Dead
is
Space
born and it dies immediately, and then the old Phoenix gets up like, I'm okay, actually.
Okay, just kidding, I'm fine.
It's like I now wonder, right? Like, if what's it gonna look like for Callisto? That game cannot have been cheap to make.
No, probably not.
Like
and there's like I don't know. Seems like it's like come out right out of the gate. It's just been apparently even the Xbox version of the game doesn't run very well either.
It's not doing
just PlayStation
too great.
And even then, yeah.
Ragnarok and Arcade stand on the surface of the sludge they caused.
So maybe it's not their fault, you know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the reality is, the people who made Scorn and Thingy they've been doing some naughty things that made both of them suck. Because you know what? I actually don't want to meme too much because like it takes away in a way from like how much fucking incredible work was done on Ragnarok.
Yeah, that's true.
As if they committed to some kind of ritual to get it as good as
they cast that spell like all the way back in 2016 when they started with 2018 or something.
Yeah, I don't even know how long all of that was in development, but I would love to be in their fucking offices right now, whereas all the big old creative flames are happening for what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
Dude, you know for a fact they got a big whiteboard and Egypt is in huge line in the middle. And they're like, are we committing? How are we doing it? It's like, we should do it. Let's do it.
Yeah, but we might be waiting a while because I think the next one will be their new IP I think that they're working on.
To be honest, dude, I think we've all agreed that it's fine if it ended here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could end here.
Oh man. Yeah. I guess shortly there was a Indiana Jones 5 trailer that gave me nothing.
Where MauLer mentioned it, and he was totally right that like the trailer does the thing that a lot of them do now, where they do the light piano, the theme.
Yep.
They did it in the Mario trailer, dude. They did like the little piano thing. Everybody does.
It's really lame, yeah.
And but I guess in this case, even though they didn't do like a trailer, well, it was a trailer rendition, right? They always have the big epic trailer rendition of the theme right at the end. And again, it's like, I don't know, man, like, because people getting hyped about that, it's like, I guess, okay, I don't know, like, to me, it just feels like, yeah, that's the music from the films I like, which isn't this film necessarily.
You know? Jurassic World's another one where it's just like the trailer for Jurassic World, the first one, it opens with the piano just going do do do. You're like, I know that thing.
Oh my god,
it's so common. It's so common.
Get the loop.
And I mean, oh man, and probably Fallout does often use a piano, but when the Fallout show comes out, they'll do the little piano thing as well. They'll use the theme. We're at the point now when it comes to a lot of these adaptations of games that they're much more willing to use the music or the visuals and imagery from the games. But you got to pay attention to that writing, whether or not that is going to be worthwhile.
You know, if they make a God of War movie, they're gonna have to pianify the.
Well, they're doing the show, right? They're doing the TV show, I think, on Amazon.
TV show for God of War?
No, is it Amazon or is it? Yes, that's definitely a thing that they're doing a TV show. Yep.
God of War.
I've never heard of this before.
What's same.
Why haven't you let me know about this? You're my guy for knowing things.
I figured you would have known.
Amazon Prime's God of War. Oh, yeah, I don't want. No,
I know about the Gears of War one. I don't know about the God of War one.
Take it away from.
Well,
Amazon.
I mean, if you want the list, right off the top of my head, we got the Gears of War, which is a TV show and a film. God of War, Fallout. There's a Borderlands film coming out. We got the BioShock show coming out. There's going to be another Sonic movie. There's probably going to be another Uncharted movie. There's a Horizon television show for Amazon. Not Amazon, for Netflix, I think. Yeah, there's a lot that are happening.
What you're saying is They destroyed all the film franchises. It's time for games to give up their
souls.
souls.
And Last of Us, of course, is coming out in a month. Well, I think it's pretty simple. There was a big era where video games, I think film studios were embarrassed to make those films because they're like, oh, these video games, video games. But at the same time, there were certain games and franchises that were too successful to ignore, like Mortal Kombat and Tomb Raider back at the time. Though Mortal Kombat's still really popular. And like that was the era. We have now entered into the era, and I think the death of creepy Sonic and the Sonic that they actually use for the film almost like signals the new era that we're in, which is that, oh, video games are like popular media that's never going away. In fact, they're so popular that they make more money than the film industry does. Oh, we should probably actually make these films, and when we make these films, we should actually leverage the imagery, music. We should leverage all of the apparent qualities of these properties and these stories and these characters for our stuff. But whether or not we actually adapt the story faithfully or even understand what it is that's special and cool about these games, that's in doubt, that's kind of up in the air, I think, at the moment.
You know what you're saying about what Christopher Judge said about game story, basically? I think that's just going to be happening more. When someone just watches Arcane, then you're like, what do you mean? What, based on it? This is for games? What do you mean?
Based on a video game.
And you're like, yeah, that's what it is. And you're like,
Yeah.
what?
I guess it's just kind of, I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of like you said in chat, but still not take it seriously. Come on, it's video games. It's kind of like, I feel like we're kind of past that. It's like, I think they've entered into the same place that a lot of comic book stuff is, right? You'll make money off of it. You're happy to make money off of it. Whether or not you respect it is kind of still, it's still kind of in doubt.
Oh, Snake said Arcane was woke. We had to look at women and children. When I read the first half of it, my brain almost died. I was like, there's too much.
You almost go into Eve's Final Flight.
I have read the word woke 10 billion times recently.
I'm so tired of it. I don't know what it means. I just stop it.
Never knowing what it means. To give people some context, I was like, I want to watch my friends play Ragnarok. I've seen Fringy play it. I've seen Metal play it. I've even heard live everything that Rags had to say about the playthrough. And I was like, ooh, Drinker played it. Sweet. If anyone has a link to Drinker's playthrough, just scan through his chat as he's playing the game, and it's a constant war as to whether or not the game is woke. They barely talk about the game. Any kind of specificity. It's just whether or not the game is woke.
I was streaming myself at the time, and people were giving me updates about that chat, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. That's some interesting takes in there. The part that really gets me is
where you might expect someone to be like, well, it is because of this part of the game, and then they talk about that, and then they argue back and forth about it, and someone else mentions a different part of the game, back and forth, back and forth. It wasn't that. It was just, it is woke. It is not. It is. It's not. It is.
They just have the chat on pop out. They don't even have to stream on. It's just like, yeah, it's woke.
You can tell even from if you didn't have chat, he keeps having to answer that question in the form of super chats. He keeps telling people, like, I haven't played it yet. You can probably tell I'm right at the beginning. So
yeah. Man.
Snoy game.
Snoy
game woke.
God of Soy.
Oh, I think the best highlight, I would say, and again, you can get this from just watching his playthrough, is he mentioned, someone asked him what he thinks of the 2018 game, and he said, it was really cool, and the one thing he really liked was how it portrayed Norse stuff and the respect it gave to Norse, and I was really surprised to hear that. I was like,
okay. Nice.
Next super chat, what the hell are you talking about? Thor is supposed to be a hero of the people, and look what they did to him in this game. Absolute disrespect, completely ignored all of the it's completely inauthentic, it's horrible, they made him a fucking asshole. What? And Drinker just goes, oh, okay, yeah, no, I didn't know that. Okay, fine, yeah. Next super chat, that guy is full of shit. Thor was not a hero of the people in Norse mythology. He's the kind of guy who would kill a person if they looked at him the wrong way. And then Drinker's just like, okay, I have no idea then. I don't know what's going on. Just leave me alone.
Also, chat, if you'd like to discuss things via super chats in my chat, please go ahead. I will not stop you.
I was laughing so much listening to
it. No, that's
Like,
funny.
what
that's
is Drinker supposed to do? He can't just go read all of mythology. Just gonna be like, I don't know, sure, maybe.
That must be confusing because fuck, you just don't really remember the game anymore. It's like, yeah, I liked it, it was pretty cool. And then people start yelling at you. It's like, no, it's bullshit, it's like this. Like, I don't know that, I'm sorry.
But yeah, people have yelled at me a whole bunch because I said it's clearly respectful to Norse mythology. They're like, how fucking dare you? I'll say it again. Just dare me, I'll do it.
I'll dare you. I'll double dare you even, yeah.
It respects that. It respects, it's so hard.
Yeah, it's good street cred.
And then they say, whoa, what about Angrboda? And I'll be like, well, she's not as bad as Kratos. He's a fucking Greek god. What's he doing in there?
Yeah.
Surely that destroyed it way more.
Oh, it's nuts. It's nuts. It's hilarious if two people talk in super chats with each other and the host is confused. Yeah.
Oh, and as to what Swolpool just said, that was the final act to that set of super chats. Someone super chat said, to be fair, Norse mythology doesn't agree with Norse mythology about what happened in Norse mythology.
That's something I heard as well. Like, different people have like different things to say. It's like almost like different not different timelines, like two different lore canons or something.
Well, yeah, it's like Norse mythology is comprised of many like stories told over time.
Yeah,
that would have passed through a lot of people. It's kind of like the thing that's pointed out with it's not quite analogous, but like there's disagreements on whether Homer was even like one person or multiple people who comprised like the Iliad and the Odyssey.
Yeah,
because it was a story that just kind of existed across a long amount of time. And it's the same with like Norse mythology, right? These are pretty old stories that were told around campfires.
Was Marge? They didn't know how many kids he had. They assume it was
3. Hey, not that Homer, all right? The other one.
Springfield's not even real, or it's based on real things, but it's not even a real place.
Where is it though? Is it in which state?
Exactly. So they zoom out pretty fast when they do the world map stuff, just to make sure you can't quite make out where we just came from.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, some interesting takes out there. Go ahead.
Credit to Drinker's chat. There was a lot of people saying, why can't you just like talk about the actual game though? And why are people saying it's woke just because of Angrboda? It's like there's got to be more to it than that. I was like, yeah,
because
good for you.
It is good job. Whoever said that, I'm proud of you. Fight the tisms. That's what you got to do. Oh man. Yeah, hey, I'm excited to talk about this. All
right, let's do it then.
Yeah,
God,
I mean, we kind of already started. You gotta do it even more.
Well, I thought it was pretty neat. Are we done?
Or... Yeah. All right. See you tomorrow at EVE.
Bye, guys.
See ya. Yeah. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's just gonna be pretty chill convo about this. More. Oh, just what do you guys thought? What do you guys think? Just start with Fringy, I guess. Just what do you think?
Oh, it's like the broad overview.
Well, yeah, the standard as we do.
Well, I mean, in terms of the story, right? I have a familiarity with the games, but not from playing them, just from I guess just for, like general games discussion and whatnot. And then I played God of War 4. Like I bought it when it came out, and then I played it for a little bit, and I stopped and never returned to it. And then, as this game was coming out, I decided to play it again, and I thought it was really good. I liked it a lot. I liked the story that it had to tell. And I felt that the changes that the game made to its mechanics and its general gameplay loop, whatever discussion is to be had about whether it's a downgrade strictly in terms of mechanics.
From 2018 to the new one, or the older ones to 2018?
The old games.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That it was, it felt pretty harmonious with the story that they wanted to tell. That it was like a very, cohesive package. And I was super impressed with the writing. And then comes along Ragnarok, which feels like it's just the better version of 2018, for as much as I like that game, in terms of refining the core gameplay loop and the general structure, and sort of expanding on the mechanics as well. But more so that if God of War 2018 was basically a whole bunch of setups with some payoffs for sure, like this game is just jam-packed with payoffs. it's so impressive to me from a writing standpoint. I am thoroughly impressed with what they achieved narratively in this game. I really, really, really like it. I'm very close to saying that I love it.
Oh, very close. Oh, very good. What about this long man? What do you have to say for yourself?
I love it. Easily. It's not even a question. I think I already knew that when I'd hit the credits. You can see me in my stream, people were like, so, how does it rank? And I was just like, it's the best one. They were like, oh, you're just high on your fleas. I was like, I'm pretty sure it's the best one. Like, it's just the... How do you... They pulled off so much. And yeah, so, as may be known, I am digging into it like hell for the next EFAP arc that's happening. It's going to be more than one episode, folks. You don't know what you're fucking in for, right? You have no fucking clue. You might be like, what do you mean? It's just going to take a while to talk about the game? It's like, oh, I don't even want to tell you what you're in for. But through my little adventures in discovering what people think of this game, I've found things. Horrible things.
Oh god, no, I'm so scared.
I'll be subjecting everybody in EFAP to it, and it's going to be pretty funny. But at the same time, it's a shit ton of work I've got to do. And it's funny, because that has nothing to do with the other thing that me, you, and Rag sorted out, Fringy, with a certain other thing. I'm trying to remain nice and vague, so it'll be a surprise for them. Oh. That was a completely other thing, and we got all that done too.
Oh my.
Non-stop. I haven't got a huge amount of sleep, but I have managed to, since literally the night I finished the Hot D EFAP, and started uploading it, I was like, right, time to boot up God of War and start a new playthrough on story mode so I can record all of the things I need without any interruptions or overlap of me talking, or for better quality. Fuck. And it's only today that I've managed to get it up to the Forge for Brok. I don't know if I'll be able to get it all done by tomorrow, but it's going to be cutting it real fucking close. Point being, I have been forced to, against my will, to understand this game a lot more. And as I've been posting to you guys, and as you guys have been posting to me, holy shit, the amount of connections to find in this game, beyond how much you liked it already anyway, the amount they clearly redrafted, holy shit, the redrafting is insane. They went all over the place, back and forth in the middle, they dabbed and dippled and dumbly-dooed all their dialogue everywhere. Oh, the characters listen to each other, they learn from each other, and it's all bound in some kind of point. So much of it has something to say about really grand topics, and it means so much. You get to learn and experience, and you get to enjoy it all through these characters who've come such a long way and share so much, and you get the nice little surprises thrown in, because it's great storytelling, like different characters getting lives getting cut short or going down directions you never would have expected. Crazy monsters and events in the game that you kind of thought, you know, they probably won't do that. Oh shit, they did do that. That's great. I love God of War, the 2005 game. God of War 2 was better. I enjoyed that a lot more. The mechanics were much more fleamy in a good way. Good fleams. God of War 3 came out, and I've told people I adore that game. It's one of my favorites of all time. I fucking loved it. 2018 happened, and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so lucky. They've managed to take this guy who's such a goofy clownman and make him into a full thing. And at the same time, I'm enjoying these mechanics, and it's the presentation, yeah. And then Ragnarok came out, and it was a big old worry, but they did everything we could want and more. Beautiful franchise, very happy. It's and yeah, I'm gonna we'll talk about it here, but I'm planning on taking a very long time explaining everything I think that's so fucking brilliant about this game over the course of the next 2 weeks, I think.
Yeah. that's sounds pretty positive, I think.
Yeah, I fucking glowing.
So I just was pretending I fucking hate that game. It's dog shit. No, I'm just kidding. I fucking love it. Man, I mean, I've been saying over the years, like, yeah, I played God of War is probably my favorite franchise. Like, then at some point I played 2018. I was like, that is my favorite game ever. And then, like, I think halfway through, MauLer asked me, so what's your favorite game now? And I was like, I don't know, it's probably gonna be Ragnarok soon. Then the game ended, and while I was crying, I was like, this is my favorite game ever. Yeah, I mean, I I played all the God of Wars. I mean, you can still find all my playthroughs from even the PSP games and Ascension. Not all the way through because I rage quit that one, but I will return to that in the future. I mean, I finished my second playthrough today, just 2.5 hours ago. Rushed through that. That's why you didn't see me stream that second playthrough all the way through. Because I was just kind of focusing on rushing through that game. And it still took me another 2 days, because that game is very chunky. And, man, I happily call it a masterpiece. I'll say it right now. I have never been more impressed with a piece of media before. I don't think I ever had a piece of media that stayed in my mind basically every day when I'm not playing it, or I'm trying to sleep. It's like, oh yeah, that thing in God of War was pretty cool. It's like, stop it, I'm trying to sleep. I love it too, but let me rest, please. And yeah, I mean, I've been...
It's pretty soy, dude.
I'm very soy. I had tears, I had rage, I had everything in that game, and yeah, I like it a whole bunch. And as you already said, the details in Ragnarok, the throwbacks, they talk about stuff that happened in all the other games. It's actually nuts when they talk about like Deimos, Kratos' brother, in case you're not aware, whoever's listening. Which was one of the PSP games, which was one of the things where I'm just like, oh, they're probably never going to talk about these ones. They're just kind of there. But they make it all very meaningful, and it's really impressive. I was very, very, very impressed. And yeah. And they respect what came before them. They could have gone the route of, look at those old silly games they had. They were just all crazy. It was just yelling and angry and silly, but no, they all make it part of Kratos' story, and it's very meaningful and builds up the character of Kratos while he goes full circle in this game, pretty much, from being angry to, embracing the world that is around him. That's my little blurb.
All right, we're done.
Wow, do you just want to go? You're just tired.
I am tired. But that's okay. It's my own fault for trying to get all this shit ready for these disgusting chatters.
I know, right?
Also the nice, friendly, happy ones, too.
Yeah. Hello, Mootle, hello, Boodle, hello, Fringo. Hey, Jake, what's up? How are you three lads today? Just existing, You guys make me want to buy the games now. Good. Buy it. So yeah, man. When I finished that game, I was like, man, I want more of this. And I think
after like what, 40 hours of play?
40, make that 73 hours, because I 100%ed that game. Got my very first platinum trophy ever, because I never gave a shit. And I was like, oh shit,
we practically got like story content worth of like God of War 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Like that's pretty much what they stuffed into this.
It's quite mad when you think like, oh, we're nearing the end, and then all of a sudden, oh, here's Vanaheim. Have this whole fucking other half of the map now that has like, I don't know, 10 hours of more content. It's like, okay.
So many people are judging the game without knowing about any of that. It's so awkward.
Well, it's been awkward in a lot of ways that the game has been judged negatively for material that is present in it that you just didn't find or didn't pay attention to.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen people saying like, God, it's so fucking story heavy. There's barely any gameplay. And it's like, but you focused the story.
Yeah.
You didn't even go to the different gameplay options. There's like a whole trials area of the game. Did you go to it? Did anyone go to... Sometimes I get surprised. Because, me and you, especially in Metal, like, we pretty much searched everything. We are a fucking anomaly.
It feels like
a lot of people will be like, you found the 2 Muspelheim seeds. It's like, I don't care. Like,
and we were like, oh shit, trials? I want to see what's all going on there. Let me check that out.
I lied. The people don't even find the seeds because they don't look. They don't find chests.
That's true.
They're just like, whatever. They said the guy says to go this way for the story.
I'll go.
Oh, what a cutscene! I didn't sign up for this.
Criticize the game for like being handholdy.
Oh man, seeing so many people play this game and they can't even figure out like how to move or something.
How do I go?
The devs. I just want to hug the devs and say I'm sorry. Like,
sorry. We will try to save you.
Thank fuck there are gods like you who can make a game that's satisfying to people who are obsessed with games and play them on the hardest difficulties while simultaneously appeasing people who are like, what is analog stick? I don't understand.
I don't get it.
Well, I guess I know that it's sort of a more free-form discussion, so
sure.
I guess here might be a worthwhile question
to
dive in. Who's your favorite character, and why?
All three of us are the same one.
We do, but okay, so do we just want to talk a bit about Kratos? and then we can get on to the question of who is your favorite character other than Kratos and why?
One of the greatest characters of all time at this point?
Yeah.
Yep. Yes,
absolutely.
He is.
It is.
He is.
I still can't.
Work.
I still can't believe it. Work. If you would have told me 2005, hey, this character is gonna go on this whole arc where he's trying to become a benevolent god and has like a whole nother family, it's like, get the fuck out of here. He's just an angry man that kills people, and it's really fun.
And that's his POV too.
Exactly. Yeah.
His POV is no way. And then he does it.
Yeah. By the way, I couldn't help but see some. I'll just be quick with this. See some parallels to Viserys, Fringy. The whole like, never thought this was even possible, but ended up here, and now I don't know what to do about all of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's that they did incredible work sending him on that arc.
Yeah,
like over the course of several hours of story, we see this character gradually opening up, gradually, very, very gradually changing his attitude and his temperament and his approach. And then we have, like, throughout that arc, several amazing payoffs between him and Atreus, Freya, all of the gods that he goes up against, like Balder, Odin, Thor.
Yeah, that already starts in 2018, because that's where all this slowly starts amping up. And then we have the Fimbulwinter. You know, that's like 3 years, if I'm not mistaken, right? It's like 3 years or 3 winters.
Well, it's a constant winter, right?
Yeah, it's like 3 years of winter, basically.
Yeah. Winter, exactly.
And it's great because we have this whole gap, and you wonder, oh, what's happening here? But then in the first 45 minutes of Ragnarok, we all get like context for what's been happening. Like Mimir's been hanging out; they seem to be getting along pretty darn well. Like, Atreus has been trained. He's, like, doing all these things by himself. Because Kratos goes like, oh, here, let me get this for you. And he's already doing it, like, putting the deer on the the tree.
It's a really cool part of seeing their dynamic is that we see, like, from God of War into Ragnarok, the dynamic changing of, like, the relationship between Kratos and Atreus. And consequently, we get to explore new dynamics of the relationship. Like, in 2018, we're very focused on Kratos is distant because he believes that if he plays a role in Atreus' life, he's going to ruin him. All of the badness that's in him is going to override, like, all of the goodness that he got from Faye. That he's going to destroy him because he hates his nature and he hates himself and the entity that he is. And then over the course of that game, he's basically, like, opening up and realizing that that he has to play a role in guiding Atreus into becoming a good person. He has to. He has to. They made it because
in universe a necessary mechanic that by accepting who you are, you like they made it so that if you like deny your own nature, it causes you to become ill, like as a god in this universe. Which is obviously just working allegorically that you don't become a better person by trying to ignore what you've done. You move on from it. You understand it.
You know, from there, that once Atreus realizes he's a god, it's like, okay, now that he knows that, you have to guide him to become a good person. Because, like, the hands-off approach of not being an active participant in his life has negative consequences. Like, a lot of what we see with Kratos is essentially him realizing, like, how to become a mentor to Atreus. And essentially him succeeding where other characters in the story failed. Like Freya and Odin, and Thor too. Like there's a lot of parallels, but in each of those characters is sort of emblematic of like different failings, right? Freya was so overprotective of Balder that she stripped him of anything meaningful in his life, like to the point that he can't even feel anything, like destroyed his life because of that. Odin is obviously this incredibly manipulative and controlling father figure who is very cruel to Thor, because he believes it's necessary to advance his goals and doesn't realize the immense negative consequences that's had on Thor. And then consequently, Thor basically passes that on to Magni and Modi, specifically Modi, who like Kratos said, sought Kratos in fear of him. Meanwhile, we get to see, through spending so much time with Kratos, him learning how to teach Atreus to be a god and to be a good one, and learn things about himself in the process, about how he can be a good god. And it's just emblematic of the line, like of you need to be better.
Yeah.
Or like, we need to be better. We need to do better. Like, that's... I love it.
Which is kind of funny to think about for us, or for whoever watched like recent medias. Like, do better was like kind of a meme almost now.
Because there's nothing
circles.
behind it in Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, exactly. And here there's like this whole...
shit tons behind it.
Yeah,
all the lessons throughout these two games is insane.
I mean,
what does it mean to be a better person? It's like, well, where do we even fucking begin? Right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the game has a lot of answers to that question.
Yeah, for Kratos is probably the most important one. Right at the end, when you do the siege and you realize there's all these innocent people, and he goes like, "No, we have to, I don't know, hold back Ragnarok for a bit and get these people out of here because we're not here to kill innocent people. Because today we do better."
It's so clear that 2018 and Ragnarok are interlinked, because how much of 2018 was following in the footsteps of Tyr and seeing like his backstory and everything that he did. Like, he was the god of war, and yet he was like the most benevolent person.
I loved him.
They loved him. He didn't want war. Like, he was, and then in the course of this game, Kratos unwittingly goes on that. Maybe unwittingly isn't the right word, because it's very deliberate in terms of the values that he's cultivated in terms of preserving life and not hurting his friends and like that. He essentially, we have the story that we're following of Tyr in 2018 to then have that story play out for Kratos in Ragnarok. It's so deliberately crafted.
It is. I think that's what I said when I finished the game. Like, I got the box of both the games. Like, these two games don't go without each other. You have to play them both. It doesn't work otherwise.
I'm so glad.
Part 1 and Part 2. This is a Part 1 and Part 2 story.
I'm so glad they gave us the Faye scenes. I seriously fucking am so glad. It slots so perfectly in.
Yeah, I never knew I needed those.
Good God, they are content explosions in terms of how they help everything, right? Because I give credit to God of War 3 where I can, in the same way that I do it for like Iron Man 3 / Age of Ultron. These content pieces that in and of themselves kind of cringe and make a couple of mistakes, but when they recontextualized and used as history, they can be incredibly powerful. Like God of War 3's ending, you guys saw me stream it, and I imagine Metal had a similar reaction. The dialogue, that shit falls off at the end in terms of just, what the hell am I listening to? What are these characters even saying anymore? It was like the writer was just like, I don't know, violence sucks, hope is the way to go.
The hope.
Like, okay. It just doesn't.
Oh, and they show the fucking clip with Pandora like 3 or 4 times. It's like, oh God, stop it, please, stop it.
And she says something that is very generic and straightforward. Like, hope is important because it allows us to. And I just want to say, like, it's a nice message. It's really clunky, that approach.
It is
like,
really
right,
clunky.
I get it. Okay, the hope is the weapon or whatever. But the important part is that a lot of people do not understand this. God of War 3, if you really pay attention to that fucking ending, Kratos, the guy who kills everybody because fucking I'm angry, is over. He's done at the end of that game. And this was a big deal for understanding the difference when people were like, wait, you think that Luke is assassinated because he's different in TLJ? Don't you remember he was different in Return of the Jedi compared to Empire? And it's like, yeah, because did you see what happened in Empire? We had all the components. He went through all those events, and then they add time. And that's what they've done with Kratos. They added time.
Yeah.
But there's a couple more things they did. Because when you meet him in 2018, I think it all lines up in terms of him being this, like, he's gone from I want to kill things for revenge to I just want to be on my own so I don't hurt anyone.
Just want to chill with my family.
I'm being forced through a deal with my wife. I promised her to deliver the ashes, and I'm supposed to take care of this kid now. But thanks to those flashbacks, we get the access to she's dropped a bunch of seeds in him. And they did it perfectly. This is how advice works and how you grow from it. It's not just someone tells you a thing and then you do it and absorb it. You have to see it in practice. You have to be like,
which is something.
This kind of neat quote, but I don't know. I think it's kind of meh, whatever. I don't really believe it. But then when you're in these environments in real life where an event happens, for example, let's just go with her with the wolf. He said the wolf was not our problem, but it is now because it's within our like state of being, sort of thing, our home. And then she was like, if you have the power to limit the damage it can cause, you should do something about it. Which, for some reason, some people consider this preachy over the top, but it's literally the Spider-Man thing. It's loads of stories do the Spider-Man thing. Spider-Man wasn't even the first one to do it. It's just a really good fucking message of if you can help a person, maybe you should. Just very straightforward. And I would argue the big time this is first paid off, if you now replay the games, is when we come across Sindri being attacked by a dragon. It is such a like, we're not going to get involved in that. It's a fucking dragon. But Atreus is like, yeah, but it's Sindri. Like, he's just been helping us.
Yeah.
And so Kratos is like, okay, you go that way, distracted, I'll go this way. And then, by the end of it, he's like, I did that because the dragon was in our way. I didn't do it to help you. And Sindri's like, oh, okay, sure. We all know what's happening. And it's like, yeah, because he's now using it in practice. He's like, well, I had the chance to prevent Sindri's death. I did it. And that's making me feel things.
Well, yeah, it's... Oh, you just because obviously the line "Don't be sorry, be better." You know, the line, the big old important line, feels like that encapsulates that specific line encapsulates such a core point of the many points, frankly, because I feel like this game, both of the games explore many very fundamental themes about being. That one in particular, what we see with Faye is essentially that she is trying to guide Kratos into becoming an active participant in the world again, because he did, he destroyed the world, right? And instead of trying to then become a force for good, he's decided, no, I should just shut myself off from the world. I shouldn't particicate at all, or even try to help or do anything good.
Because every time he tries to participate, it just ends in disaster.
I mean, yeah, I guess so, right? That's all he has as a point of reference.
Exactly.
I'm a monster.
And when finally it happens, when Brok gets killed, he's like, I'm out of here. This is just gonna get worse if I just stay here.
But then it's the realization that he can't do that. He has to participate because he can do good.
Yes.
He can be a force for good, even if he considers himself to be a lost cause. But I mean, that's what it is, right? Don't be sorry, be better, do good things, get out there and help people, rather than just sitting in a forest, stewing in your own misery.
Yeah, hiding. Which is interesting as well, because the whole game, he's just like, we're not hiding. Nah, we're not hiding. We're doing these things. And then all the way at the end, when he fucks off with Atreus and is like, about to kill that deer, and he's like, oh, no, this is gonna go and hide and lick its wounds, and that's what we're doing right now. We're hiding. It's like, oh shit. Yep. And then we gotta go back. It's everything that's been said, especially in the ending segments, it's all been built up to. It's crazy. Someone in chat just went, in the direction of deer is such a great throwback to the beginning of 2018. It's
such a fucking good move to play 2018 again before this.
Dude, it's nuts. It's nuts. Because Atreus says, oh, hey, no, Mimir says, oh, where are we going? And Atreus is in the direction of deer. And you go oh, fuck. My heart.
Just when you talk about where all of this sort of culminates, one of my favorite payoffs in any story ever is Kratos discovering the mural at the end of the game.
Absolutely.
I adore it.
Man.
It's wonderful. It's incredible.
And his reaction to what? Me?
Yeah.
Me?
It's it feels like it emphasizes that point that MauLer was making, right? You can't just tell somebody to do something. They have to live it and experience it. That's why it's so powerful, because he realizes it's like you said, it's a path he hadn't realized, but it's a path that he was on, that he had set himself on. And holy shit, I love it. The performance, it's everything about it. It's I fucking love it. It's incredible.
Yeah, and it's the whole seed with being better, and not just telling someone you gotta do this. You have to realize yourself. It's a thing that Faye told Kratos when they were going around, I think, putting up the staves, I think, if I'm not mixing up the dream sequences. And at some point, Kratos mentions it itself when in Vanaheim, I think, at some point. No, is it Vanaheim?
Oh, no.
Huh?
Which thing?
Oh, that they have to realize themselves to change, and you can't just tell them, but they can put down some seeds. I think that he says that when you do side quests in Vanaheim, and it's like, hey,
the
why
amount of fucking incredible content in the side shit is,
yeah. I think that the gist of it was, hey, why we're actually reactivating this old ass temple of Freya with the lights, like that's not gonna solve anything. And then Chris says, yeah, but it's maybe gonna put down some seeds so they can heal in the future. It's like, oh shit, nice. But yeah, the side content, it play all the side content. There's so much great dialogue in the side content. So you already have like a super duper solid main story, and you learn really cool stuff in side content. Like there's.
By the way, why'd you have your copyright cover up?
Oh, I don't know actually. I'm scared. I'm gonna strike myself.
It's the lesson that they learned in Ragnarok is to inject really important story moments, much more so into the side content, because there's so many great payoffs that you don't get for characters. I think the one that like feels like the most clear to me is Freya, the quest that you go on with her to retrieve the sword.
Yeah,
like that's so important and so meaningful, and it's not essential, but it's great that it's there as like an option for you to get that story, and that they injected it. Like that was the way to go.
There's a whole side story about Faye that you can do in the big desert area, I think. No, not the desert area, the big Vanaheim area.
It's funny. It's funny the way you're describing it. It's like in a big desert. It's like that's actually story relevant. Like it used to be this luscious, great little place where loads of people hung out, and we are there to figure out why is there a frozen lightning strike, and why does everything suck here, and why has everything been taken over by blah blah blah. And there's a bunch of spirits that tell you pieces of a story as you complete their missions. Yeah,
and then you learn in that side quest that, I mean, you maybe got like an inkling. It's like, oh, maybe she fought Thor here or something. Because Thor, all the way in the beginning, says when the frozen lightning happens, that is familiar. And you're like, huh? That's a weird little line you said there.
Doesn't matter.
And you only figure it out when you do the side content. You get the whole fucking thing.
Side content, by the way, that is begun by following the footprints of a doggo.
Right, yeah.
Like that was just a funny moment where Free was like, "Oh, this looks like Free. That's gonna be 6 hours off your clock."
Yeah, I was there. You don't have time for this. It's really good, but you don't have time for this.
That area, the crater of Vanaheim, it just keeps growing. The more you look around, you're like, "Oh, that's another."
I got so lost. It's like, "Oh, there's something here, something there." It's like, "Help!"
And you remember that every time you explore any of it, it's like, "By the way, you got to do it at nighttime now too." And you're like, "Oh, fuck."
Oh shit. And it's like, oh, there's dragons also, and you need to go there at night. It's insane. And yeah, you basically learn that while they were fighting, like Thor got really fucking drunk, and they started a fight, and we learned that Faye had rage issues herself, apparently, which is really interesting to know, because Kratos didn't even know about that. And it's like, oh shit, I knew she was a warrior, but I didn't know she was able to do things like this. So yeah, that's like just one example of like, or two rather, that's with actually, the Freya one, easy for me to say.
Something that's neat between 2018 and this game is 2018 she's freshly dead, Faye, and basically any and all besmirchment of her in any way, shape, or form is ultimately like shot down by Kratos. She deserves 100% respect no matter what.
Yeah.
By the time we hit this game, there are several references to how his perspective of her has eroded quite a bit.
That's actually something
he absolutely loves her, and she represents to him his chance to be a better person. But at the same time, he kind of hates her a little bit because he feels like she hid so much from him.
Yeah, that's something I kind of hope they would do. Because when at the end 2018, it's like, hey, she didn't tell me about this, and I was like, Kratos is probably not gonna be thrilled about this in the next game. I wonder if he gets something about this.
an interaction I think that's absolutely brilliant for that, and it's not even that overt, is when you get him saying, "Mom kept secrets, so did you." And then, he's like, "So you guys can do it, but I can't." And he's like, "No, that's not acceptable. Her secrets haunt our every step of the path," or something like that.
Yeah.
Then later on, when Freya suggests that it's the giants have chosen Kratos as their champion, and that Faye may have wanted that for him, and he says she would never want that for me when she knows my history. She would never ask that of me. And then Freya's like, she shouldn't need to ask. And besides, I'm not saying anything you haven't thought about. And then she repeats that line back to him because she's in the room when he says it. Her secrets haunt our every step of this path. It's like, and she says, "You already know. You've already been thinking about this." And it's like, yeah, he has. He's
yeah.
And he finds it like an almost betrayal. But in reality, of course, Faye is just trying to encourage him to go about what he did in God of War 3, but do it right this time.
Yeah, it's crazy good. It's crazy good. But yeah. And you finish the main story, and all of a sudden, yeah, we have more things to do. And I think it took me like another 10 hours, 12 hours to finish all the content I had left over. Because of course you have the optional bosses again, like in 2018. You have the Berserker Kings, which can be a good challenge to a bullshit challenge, depending on which one you fight. Then you have Gna, which is only available after everything has happened, which is the new Valkyrie queen. Which, man, that fight broke me.
Do you read a journal, by the way?
I did. She was they were kind of friends, but she was also kind of a bitch. I would need to reread
I really
it.
liked her journal entry because I thought it was neat to add that on after everything else. Basically, that she's got a perspective on everything Freya complains about, and it's that basically, like, she writes down, like, Freya on one hand will say, like, this horrible god killed my son, and then Gná will write, yeah, a son that was insane that you caused to go insane and tried to kill him. So
right.
It's kind of weird you say that. Then it's like, oh, your traitorous husband destroyed everything about you, and then Gná writes, yeah, after you betrayed him, which is something that Freya never talks about. The idea that she drew first blood with Odin, sort of thing. Which kind of matches up, I think. She says in one of her stories that Odin was asking her to cast a spell on him to sort of make him invincible, and that when she refused, he like went nuts and broke things in the room, I think is pretty much what she implies.
Yeah.
And that she says from that night, like, I knew, he had to be stopped. He was a horrible man, sort of thing. And it's just like, oh, they leave just enough for you to imagine that maybe she did kind of preemptively take the first strike against Odin.
Yeah.
And you combine that with what Heimdall says, where he's just like, sorry, what you think what about the wall? And it's like, it was built by a giant, right? And he's like, you think the wall was built by a giant to keep out giants?
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, yeah. He's like, I don't even want to hear about the fucking abridged histories you were given by the literal enemies of the Aesir.
That's
and
something.
It's just like, this is something we thought might happen after playing a lot of 2018. That when you meet these characters, they might be like, yeah, where did you hear these histories? All the people who hate us, cool.
Yeah, even the Thrud to Atreus goes like, oh, so a traitor and his crazy ex-wife told you these stories. Okay, yeah, whatever. Like
I don't think that Mimir outright lied or anything. It's just that the details are probably really important in terms of just how things are tweaked.
Yeah. And why would Thrud believe the other stories? Like, she grew up here. Like, she's been chilling here. Like, she had no other perspective as well. So why would she think her grandfather is this crazy murderous person?
A lot of the stories that you get told about Odin, he's searching for access. He wants more info, more magic, more blah 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 to get. He's that mask. It's everything. And so every time he gets denied it by Freya, by the giants, by the Vanir in general, like he sends in Thor.
Yeah. Talking about Thor, man, I wish we had more Thor. I really like his character.
I can't believe how much they nailed with the time they had with him.
Man, they make every second count with Thor. It's insane. Yeah, just because we were told about him, it's like, yeah, he's this drunk, he just kills things, he killed all these giants, and he just fights everything, and yeah, he's drunk and whatever. And when we find him, he's basically like Odin's puppet. Like, Odin is not even happy that he stopped drinking to be a better father to his only leftover child.
He only cares about who Thor is in terms of how it serves and benefits him.
Exactly.
Not in terms of how it benefits Thor as his own person.
Yeah, because he says, like, oh, I liked you better when you were drunk. It's like, man, you're a vile person. Man.
Well, yeah, and it reflects in like Thor's attitude even on himself, right? Like, what could I possibly teach him? He basically he just doesn't value in himself.
Oh, he's completely ruined. Odin has destroyed Thor.
Exactly.
Yeah, when he always says like, "Oh, don't think too much. I don't want to think too much." That's why he drank for the most part, probably.
Yeah, that's a consistent. Like, he keeps a lot of his dialogue is surrounding that, and it's to do with him. He should never think about anything. You just do.
That's when we have the section with Atreus and Thor, the second one after the bar brawl, where Atreus says like, "Oh, I think you should." It's like, no more thinking. Stop with the thinking. And it's like, "Oh, I like Hellwalkers. Like, you could just punch them,
Deuce.
they go poof, and it's gone. Like, you don't need to think about it at all." It's like, damn.
Do you remember at one point Atreus says something in totality, basically being something he hopes for, and then Thor goes, "Well, that's." Hoping is better than thinking.
I was about to mention that as well. Yeah, it's
and it's he's getting through to him. He's really, like, in that whole set of scenes, he's actually getting somewhere, because Thor basically implies like Atreus couldn't possibly understand anything he's going through, and then he basically lays out like how very similar they are and how much they've been through, and then Thor starts to crack. He's kind of like, yeah, okay, you got some points you're making, and I think it's to do with, I need to check, because again, like the 5 billionth layer to this game, I'm sure I'll discover something else. When you listen to what Thor and Sif are arguing about, it's about how like Thor is trying to encourage Thrud, because her journey is one that she's choosing, sort of thing, and he'd rather support her, which is the complete fucking opposite of what Odin did with him.
Yeah,
and it really does give you a sense of like, wait, Thor's not useless. He's like, he's actually a dad to Thrud to some degree. It's it's just doesn't work out with certain elements, but Atreus says to him like, look, just one more thing, when he's in Niflheim, and he says something along the lines of it's something to do with your path and trying to take it. And I think what he says is what he overheard Thor saying about trying to support Thrud, and he's trying to make him realize it about himself. And I think when he says it back to Thor, he just does like a grunt or some kind. Yeah, and oh, you're getting so close. And then Sif does the thing. And by the way, I've talked to other people about this, and two people who are on, I talk to regularly about different things to do with media. Both of them were confused by the scene with Sif, as are many, where she told Thor to attack Atreus, yet later in the game she wants him to attack Odin. That doesn't make sense. Everyone's been gaslit by that scene. Watch it again. She does not tell him to attack Atreus. She doesn't do that.
Not at all.
He does that because he's angry and he doesn't know where to channel the anger.
Exactly.
There's no reason for him to attack Atreus. He was actually on pretty good terms with Atreus. It's just he's got to put it somewhere.
Yeah.
He can't throw it at Odin. He just can't.
Yeah. Because she goes like, hey, Odin did throw our boys, Magni and Modi, at his problems like brittle knives at a mountain top or mountain wall or something.
Mountain face,
yeah. It's like, man, she does not like Odin, huh?
Well, and it's confirmed when you listen. I think when you eavesdrop on them, she says you never stand up to your father when he's done so much damage to all of us. Like, that's what confirms her attitude in the scene where she explains what's going on. She wants him to fuck with Odin. Odin is the cause of it. And you can tell it's happening in that scene where she arrives and tells Odin, Atreus is right there, we got to capture him, Kratos has killed Heimdall, like the war is basically already started, Aesir blood is being spilled, and Odin basically tells her, yeah, I don't care, he's getting me my mask.
Yeah.
Which is unacceptable to her. She's like, which is the part of the point of the game, his pursuit of knowledge has come above everything. And if you remember when Kratos is talking about the mask and using it against Odin, he says, like, quick access to like all knowledge, it's going to come at a cost. It's not something you just get for free. And Odin's accepted that. He's literally willing to pay any price for ultimate knowledge.
Yeah, evidently of what we've seen and the story we heard.
Which is why it's a fucking perfect payoff to be presented with the chance to have access to it, and Loki just says no. And breaks it,
and then he just flips his shit. Oh,
yeah, it's in the fight where he says like, all the people I've killed, you've just made meaningless, and it's like, oh, Odin's such a good villain.
He is
He's
a
a great
really,
villain.
really good villain. I forgot what I was to mention. Oh yeah, in the final fight between Kratos and Thor, we've just listened to the dialogue of Thor for a bit. Like he's not listening to anything. He thinks they captured Thrud and want to, I don't know, torture her or take her
Let's
hostage.
be honest, I don't even know that that's the case. I think he's shouting that as just to try and convince himself even that that's the case. He needs... It's once again channeling all that anger. It's got to have to go into Kratos.
Exactly.
It's got to go into something. And then like the guy spares him, and then he goes as far as saying, "My daughter is like my son trusts your daughter." And he's just like, he's leaving Thor no choice. He won't let him be a monster.
Yeah. But it's great because there's like this. He's basically on the path right now that Kratos already had. It's like, I'm gonna let you do this. Do it for the sake of our children. Kratos says, like, "Oh, you legend."
Fucking nailed it. It's the only way to get to Thor.
Yeah.
Makes it so sad. He's about to start the arc that Kratos went on.
Yeah.
And Odin robbed
He puts
him
the
of it
hammer
because he
down.
knew. He says no, and at that point he's no longer under Odin's control, and therefore Odin immediately kills him. It's like, I can't let you.
I was peak angry at Odin at that point. I was like, you motherfucker. I never wanted to kill a villain in a video game more than Odin. Like, legitimately.
That's so indicative of excellent characterization. Yeah. And it's all
it's totally so lied. Like,
well, yeah, exactly.
Everything is falling apart. Either like Thor is now either ignoring him or a threat to him, and both are so useless. He may as well kill him.
Exactly, because that's all that Thor and basically everybody has ever been to him, as people that he can use to service his goals, not, you know, human beings with their own needs that need to be fulfilled.
Yeah,
like that Thor needs like a dad, and yeah, it's just tragic. As soon as he's about to start that arc, he gets killed.
Yeah, it's when you hear talk Odin to Thor when you're in Asgard with Atreus, like, I can explain it to you, but I can't understand it for you. He says to Thor, and it's like, man, you're such a dingus. He's always
Thor broke up Heimdall from doing anything to Atreus, right? Protects him, and then Odin arrives, sets up how he's going to be talking to him, and then he just looks over at Thor and he's like, "What are you doing? What do you want?" And he's just like, "Well." He's just there because he's like, you know, hi, I'm he's like, okay, yeah, I'll go. Yeah, okay.
Gladly.
You get those, like, rewatching it with the full story in mind. God, I understand everything they were trying to do. And
Absolutely.
They did it so well.
Yeah.
That's like one of the things in this game. Like, you go through it the second time, which is normally the part where, like, oh, there's all the problems you find. But in this one, it's more a thing of, oh shit, there's another detail. Oh, I didn't catch that thing the first time. It's like, oh, that's even still works, even with other context. That's fantastic. Which, yeah, you don't have that a lot these days.
So someone in chat just highlighting, I fucking love that moment. Just like you and Balder. And Odin's fucking death stare at Thor for that one. Because we talk about this with the best stuff. One line could let us talk for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, why is that such a fucking great line? It's like, well, pick a character you want to go from perspective. Maybe start with Atreus because it's going to be the least stuff. But you just got, like, I'm trying to help the enemy I'm likely set to kill prophecy-wise. We're going to have a big War Ragnarok. But this is kind of wicked out. This kind of go well that I've got Thor reminding him of how, oh yeah, it's thanks to me, essentially, that Balder even died. And that that was Odin's, like, favorite. And that I'm actually replacing him now, which feels really awkward. But so you got that going on, but Odin probably despises, as he made clear in the opening of the game, these two for killing Balder. He doesn't care about Magni and Modi; they were useless to him.
Yeah.
Balder was not. Balder was fast, strong.
I mean, that's one of the
fucking done.
First things he says, right? It's like,
yeah, you think you have a debt to pay for that?
I know, was self-defense, fine, but he was very useful. You two boys, to be honest, kind of useless. It's like, man, he's not even hiding it. He just straight up says it.
It's very much more deliberate than that. He writes off Magni and Modi as self-defense. He does not entertain that for Balder. He just says, no, what you did to Balder was fucked up, and I need it. Like, even though that, arguably, what wasn't self-defense, that was defense of Freya. Is the reason that he died. But, it still counts for something. It's just that you do that, and then So was it Odin said that and Thor gave him that stare? It's the other way around for the boulder line. It's fucking brilliant because Odin's like, why the fuck would you remind us all of that? Why would you even bring that up? Like the boulder is the biggest thorn in my side for like trying to get along with these fucking people. And then of course, like, look how that relationship ended, and look at what you did to him. He even admitted that Boulder wasn't all there. You know, like he's like, it kind of drove him fucking nuts. Because he probably, like, I think it's enough to infer that he would have told Boulder that if we get access to this rift, if I can get the pieces of the mask, then I'll get you your cure, you know? I'll get you to feel stuff again. And that's why I don't see why that wouldn't be the obvious inference for why Boulder was 100% his, like, zealot, basically.
Yeah.
Along with Heimdall. And that's the thing. You can now start seeing it as like, oh, he probably way preferred him to Thor. Boulder. Like, he probably thought Boulder and Heimdall, they're both just like a better visions and less get in the way. They just follow orders, while Thor is probably just like, he's just fucking sad he doesn't get to have a dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and then of course just Thor's saying it because he's trying to point out, like, yeah, you're so fucking happy with this kid and you getting your mask pieces. You're treating him like a son more than you ever have me.
Yes. And grinds his gears.
And then, saying, like, just like you and Boulder, to remind him of, like, how that ended up. And yet I'm still here, still doing everything you tell me to do, and you don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. There's so much in it, and it's you know, these guys don't even get anywhere near the amount of screen time that you would imagine they did from how much you can talk about them.
Yeah, that's what I mean with, like, they made every second count. It's crazy. It's actually crazy. Like, even Thrud, which we see maybe, like, 30 minutes tops. Like, you can talk about her character for a while as well. It's like, yeah, she wants to be a Valkyrie. She wants the approval of her dad. She's kind of also a little bit in these teenage years. And it's like, mom doesn't want me to be a Valkyrie, but doesn't really want to understand that it's because she doesn't want to lose her last child, basically.
Yeah.
Even though she says at the end, when they're, like, together, it's like, hey, I never had any doubt you're gonna become the finest Valkyrie in all the lands. But then also says, like, but not for him, if you know what I mean. It's like, so good. It's so good.
Yeah. It was just another game slotting right in. The parent, in an effort to protect the child, is gonna cause damage that they don't want to, and that they can come around eventually. It's like we've done that so many times, but in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. Especially doesn't want to lose the child that made her and Thor stop drinking. Yeah, as well. Which is a super interesting thing as well, when Atreus tells Kratos and Mimir, like, oh yeah, they stopped drinking to be a better parents. And Mimir's like, what? They did what? Because he only knows them as, like, these crazy fighting people who are drunk all the time. And hearing them not drinking anymore so they can be better parents, he like legitimately says, like, oh, you know what? Actually, good for them. That's great. You get quite the sympathy for some of the Aesir there.
Everyone's people in this game.
Yeah, everyone's people, and they talk like people. It's quite nutty.
It's one of the reasons why I'll defend the Atreus sections, is because those were the best means by which they were able to give us, like, a real insight into the Aesir gods and everything that's going on from their perspective. Because, like, ultimately, there's only so many times that Kratos can meet Thor where it doesn't end with one of them dead, right?
Exactly.
Like,
You
the nature of a lot of.
You can't have the conversation run the same way. It's just going to be as violent as it was, where he's just like, fuck you, I hate you. That's what their conversations will be.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, Atreus is like, help Atreus find the mask. So Thor's like, just get the mask. And then he's like, you know, kind of neat us hanging out. What do you think of the Muspelheim trials? And Thor's just like, shut up.
I don't care about them. And then he goes to try them, goes and tries them, and comes back like, you know what, that was fun.
But don't play me again.
Don't play me again. He knew exactly what was going on, which is great. But he likes the fighting, the glorious fighting.
It's a way to stay numb, I'd imagine. Same with drinking.
Yeah.
And kill shit. That's what he says about. We brought up about the Niflheim undead, right? So satisfying. They just crumble apart, and there's nothing to worry about.
Yeah, nothing to worry about. No thinking. Oh man. Really good stuff. Really good stuff.
It's funny as well because you have peak MCU Thor around about Infinity War, and then this game comes out, a 2018 game, and so you're like, oh wait, yeah, what are they gonna do about Thor? It's like they didn't give us their Thor. They were like, we're gonna give you, a description of what he's like, his effect on the world and what people think of him. But no, we're showing you everything else first. We're gonna show you Balder, someone that most people don't even fucking know about.
Yeah.
Like, okay. And then they're like, but we'll give you Thor. We're confirming, yes, Thor's coming in the next game. We're gonna do him, and he ain't your dad's Thor. And it's funny because he arrives right after MCU Thor's stock has absolutely fucking plummeted.
It's kind of funny to think about, isn't it? It's like, oh, we just had Love and Thunder, and you're like, God damn, what happened to Thor? And then we get this Thor. It's like, yeah, I want that. This Thor is great. But they gave him this full arc in this whole game, and he dies at the end. It's like, oh man, I want more of that Thor. That Thor is great.
It's just funny because he's kind of closer to what people would have wanted in Endgame.
Yeah.
Imagine we dealt with a depressed and overweight alcoholic Thor who's shirked his duties as a leader, who's got like all of this pain and grief as fed into all the people around him, and then he's causing even more trouble, and then he goes on his redemption arc to actually like get a second chance at Thanos and blah blah blah. Like that's all everyone wanted. Instead, they just clown on him through the whole movie. How funny is it that he's useless?
He's like, Fortnite. You have cheese in your veins, or whatever the fucking line was.
Some people can't even tell the difference. Like they see the Thor in this game as like the same thing. It's like he's fat and useless. They did it again. It's like, oh my god, no.
You know what? I think you're useless. With the minds, the things.
I can't see the difference between what we got and him walking around in the barn, slipping on a banana peel, and
that just gets so depressing, right? It's like, what do you pull from stories? Like, what is it that you?
I don't know. They're just so hurt from all the other things. They see a minor similarity. It's like, oh, he's a little bit chunky. They're gonna give us Marvel Thor. Trash.
Totally different people.
Yeah, not even remotely close to each other.
And they have an existential crisis when they realize he's more accurate to Norse mythology than MCU is. Meanwhile, us on EFAP are like, oh, neat, whatever. I want to talk about what they did with him anyway. I don't care if it's accurate or not.
Exactly. And they do fantastically with what we have here. It's, man.
Guys, what do you think of Freya?
Awesome.
Where do you even begin?
Where to begin? I fucking love.
Is enormous.
We started the game with her attacking us, and Kratos saying, after Atreus says like, "Oh, it's not gonna be that easy, isn't it?" He just says, "It never is," and you're like, "Fuck! How many times has this happened already? Like they've been fighting through all of Fimbulwinter, all the time."
And how we know from what he says later that his challenge every time he comes across her is to find a way to survive and not hurt her. That's
not hurt her,
yeah. He doesn't want to hurt her. Yeah.
He's so thankful for her saving Atreus. It's like, I'm just not gonna kill her.
Dude, you'll see this on the EFAB, right? Because that's what I've been doing into cutting relevant scenes from 2018. When you see him and her interact after she saves Atreus' life, you can tell Kratos basically provides her with a "I will never hurt you" card.
Yes,
like you are done now. You are protected.
Yeah.
and
of course,
it comes
this came after he was furious that she didn't tell him that she was a god.
All of it got wiped away. She saved Atreus' life. You are now golden. You will never you're just. It's funny because when you do all the shit for even the side mission stuff, when you're heading back to Vanaheim with Atreus, Mimir I think is like, oh, we can look around. The boy hasn't even seen this realm before. And if you go straight to the camp, he's like, oh yeah, we're off to the camp. I think Kratos has a line where he says, we should see Freya. I owe her in a huge amount. He says something along the lines of like, I have so much that I owe her, and it's just funny. He's already paid back in full. I would argue a lot, but it doesn't matter. It's like saving Atreus' life. It's like it's worth infinite to Kratos.
Yeah, and the whole section when chat said as well, the Vanaheim section where they get Freya's power back. Man, that's some double S tier shit we get there.
It's they have crafted like an excellent character in Freya. Like she's they did so much work with her, and I mean it's owing to the fact that she got a ton of time. But it's like Vanaheim, like the section in Vanaheim, as well as the additional side material as well in Vanaheim, like all of the other quests that you can go on, including the wedding stuff. it's all of it is just like contributing to really like she just gets so much time.
Yeah, it's
she gets
great.
so much time, and the consequences that you understand her like incredibly well. It's and like so many great moments, right? Like when Atreus comes back from the Angraboda section, and then bumps into Kratos as he's leaving.
It's like one of those moments where you come too late back home at night and your dad is waiting for you. It's like, oh shit.
and then of course the fact that when that fight happens and then Freya shows up and tries to kill him. And because we had the scene earlier, right, when Atreus went out to find her, and like it's so evident in that scene that what's happening is Atreus is actually starting to convince her of like maybe you need to set aside your differences with Kratos to like help do good things, and then she basically just like tells him like go away, like fuck you, go away, don't tell me these things, you're changing my mind and I don't like it, I want to kill Kratos. And then when she finds out like about all of his abilities and everything, as well as the fact that Kratos is like vehemently trying to protect her from being hurt, it's just like, oh no, you have to like give this up at least for now. And she destroys that rock, screaming at the top of her lungs.
Because he even stops Atreus because funny enough, there's the first time he's a bear there, but he turns into a bear right before. Freya's about to, I don't know, beat him up or kill him or whatever.
He's got a knife to his throat, so it's a worry.
Yeah.
And the first thing that happens is Kratos is just going for Atreus. Like, he's not going for...
Like, stop it. And then I think he says, she was our friend.
Yeah. It's like, oh, man.
And yeah, it's the scream is her basically realizing she has to. She can't do this. She has to put this aside for now. She has no choice. Which she run away from the whole time.
Run the story back, right, all the way to her happiest moments in life, where it's just her and Freya. I feel like the American accent is more helpful with this.
Freya.
British people, I just sound like the same. So yeah, basically those two worked on Vanaheim together, and they even make it clear if you follow all the dialogue. She was the leader. She was really good in terms of just logistics and making everything run, but he was good at inspiring people and keeping everybody happy. So they were a great team together. And then, of course, you grow up older and older and older. The Vanir and the Aesir start having their wars. Mimir recommends the form of peace in Odin and Freya getting married, which is basically something that everybody hates, but sounds logistically and pragmatically like maybe a good choice. Freya, like the betrayal happens, and Odin just destroys her life in every way, shape, and form except killing her. Like... all of Vanaheim basically consider her to have betrayed them and left them behind. I think she says once Baldur was born, she stops getting praise and messages and care from the people of Vanaheim. They believe basically once Baldur is born that she's gone full Aesir mode. And then, of course, something happens to her, and Freya tries to go and do something about it, and he gets burned. And he believes her to be dead. And then she's banished and kept in Midgard, unable to harm any living thing, unable to move between realms. And as far as she knows, her whole family and people hate her. So she's just lost basically everything. But what does she have? She has Baldur.
Yep, and then Baldur's gone.
And that's what I mean. She's defensively protected him. Okay, life is good enough. Then this guy comes along, this fucking crazy guy, this huge crazy guy, and he kills my son. And so, I think her will is so restricted at that point that all she's got left is Baldur, and now he's been taken. So what happens next? Like, well, I get revenge. That's what I do. That is that is the thing. She even expresses to Kratos halfway through the initial mission you do with her that she's like, what am I supposed to do? Like, such fucking shit tons of horrible things have happened to me. Am I supposed to just ignore it? Do I just not have a response to this? And, the reality is, in the effort of trying to find a better way to kill Kratos, she gets her warrior spirit back. She gets her wings back. She gets, her connections with friends back. She manages to get to Vanaheim, unlock all the other realms. What I'm getting at is that in an attempt to avenge Baldur because she had nothing left, she's unlocked all of her avenues back up.
Yep.
Yeah, and now what? Like, what was this all for? To kill Kratos? Why am I even doing that? What?
Yeah.
And it's so hard to maintain that interest in killing him after everything he does.
But then it's nice that the game presents the honest sort of because it's in that scene, right, when after she's got basically all of her abilities back, she's very, very, very angry at Kratos, She's not really sure that she can, like, forgive him for that. But, nevertheless, the two can work together. And you know, move forward and try to become, like, a positive force in the world. And then, of course, Kratos' response as well. Like, I'm never going to be sorry for saving your life. Like, I'm never going to regret that. I'm never going to regret my choice to save your life. But I recognize that there was a choice that was before you, and I took that away from you. And I'm not going to do that again. And he doesn't do that again with Odin, who he doesn't want to kill. He gives her that choice and is going to let her make that choice and just hope that she does the thing that he believes is the right thing, which she does. Because she goes on a rock, essentially.
Yeah.
Of realizing that she always has options in terms of, like, who she can be and the way that she can move forward. That she doesn't have to. She's not locked into any decisions. Like, she isn't forced to do anything based on, you know, past negative experiences. Like, she can always look at those past negative experiences and still choose to be better and rise above those and be the better person. And she does. It's like, that's fucking awesome. You did such great work with this character.
Yeah. It's so nice. It's so nice. But yeah, when they talk in Vanaheim, when she's in her falcon form or whatever it is, in her bird form, and Kratos starts talking about his past.
Yep.
Man, I got goosebumps when he started talking about it, because, like, I can't believe that he's actually talking about this. Because she goes like, oh, what do you possibly know about losing a child? And he's like, oh, I know. And she's like, oh shit, there was another family, another child? And then he tells her all about it. It's like, oh yeah, I was under the influence of some crazy god because I wanted to win a war. And then my my family was in the city I was attacking. And I only realized after I had their blood on my hands. And she's like, oh shit, I can't imagine how bad that is.
When he explains, like, I was essentially forced to kill my own family, she's like, that's horrible. Yeah. And it's just like, yeah, I think it's important that she heard that, because she could get a little bit more of a understanding that this is a guy that's been through some shit, okay?
Yep.
Well, yeah, it's about POV, right? She got a POV that she just got information she never had before, and she has to change her perspective on Kratos based on it. She can't remain like rooted in a belief that is not reflective of who he is and why he does things.
Yeah. People kept commenting that he never mentioned the ashes, but it would have been a bit too much. Freya already understood. Yeah, we didn't need it here, but I was surprised as well that it wasn't mentioned, like, at all in, like, a side thingy or whatever, where he talked about the ashes, because they are, like, all over his body, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's. I don't think he ever mentions that aspect throughout the whole game.
No. I was surprised that didn't happen. We didn't need it necessarily.
I think it makes some sense. I don't know if he wants to. It's such a, like, the other stuff is harsh to know, but that's it's like the ashes of my dead loved ones are on me all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know if they need to know that. That can. I'm sure he's happy that nobody knows that but him.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. I think so.
With all this that we've said about Kratos and Freya, by the way, as part of the Norn section is really cool. They're the intros they give, where they're like, Kratos, Ghost of Sparta, Bane of Olympus, Destroyer of Fate, Cruel Striker, Bringer of War, Weapon of the Gods, turned against his creators. He chases a redemption he knows he can never deserve. He cannot change.
He cannot change.
These intros aren't the Norn's opinion of these characters, it's the character's opinion of the characters.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly.
You got Freya of the Vanir, Master of Magics, Queen of the Valkyries, Witch of the Woods, Frigg of Asgard, Destroyer of all she would hope to protect. She always finds somebody to blame.
Mm-hmm.
She cannot change.
So good.
They end each of these with she cannot change. And then you get the fucking wonderful payoff of Mimir of the Aesir. And he goes, here we go.
Here we go.
Counselor to kings, merry wanderer of the woods, Robin of the good fellows. Let me guess, I'm a long-winded know-it-all and I cannot change. You forgot smartest man alive. I fucking love Mimir.
And then it's just silence. Like, oh, that shut him up. It's so good.
Well, yes, because of course another one of the best characters, Mimir.
Oh, Mimir is so awesome. Mimir. Dude, I fucking love that Kratos and Mimir are just bros now. It's so awesome. Great. I love it.
Almost inseparable. I can't imagine hanging out with Kratos and getting his perspective without Mimir just sitting there, man. I fucking love Mimir.
Yeah.
Great.
And that fucking side mission you do, where Mimir's like, hey, I need to right some wrongs, and Kratos calls him brother. I was like, fuck yes!
Yeah.
Such a good payoff. Because you kind of get
Mimir is improving everything all the time. He's just, it may not be like a huge, super overt thing, but he is a character that just, by being there, he makes things better. Anything he says, it always adds.
Because in terms of the core dynamic between Kratos and Atreus, having Mimir there is this third perspective that's different from both of them.
Yeah.
You got, like, Kratos, the stoic, reserved, you know, kind of, like, sort of impenetrable. Like, he's unwilling to open up, often, you know, short replies. Meanwhile, you got Atreus, who's exploring the world, learning new things, curious. And then you've got Mimir, who's got a lot of answers to the questions that the characters would have. As well as his own sort of, you know, snarky, cheeky sort of...
Editorializing.
Yeah,
exactly. It's just like a great trio of characters to have in the story.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the switch up with Freya replacing Atreus adds even more because, like, she and Mimir have this very tenuous history.
Yeah.
I quite enjoy the first time we have the dynamic, and she says something, because Brok is setting it up by just making some jokes or whatever, and she implies, like, you know, fuck the lot of you, basically, and then, or like, fuck Kratos specifically, and then Mimir just goes, oh, you know he's not responsible for the pain you're going through. He says it with quite a bit of venom, because he's fucking tired of, like, they've had hunting them for years when all they did was save their life. Like, he is an absolute bro to Kratos. Like, you'll totally cover for him. And really yeah, I think it's wonderful that in 2018 you can tell Mimir is with Kratos because he's got no other options, really. But gradually, he's like, I'm understanding this guy more and more. And as much as he is a raging psychopath that I've even heard just killed an entire pantheon, like, there's something going on here. And then by the time you hit this game, it seems that Mimir is, like, more than happy to spend his time with Kratos. He would like to.
Yeah.
He's got some decent respect for him. And I quite love the line, even though it's tiny, when they assert that he's going to agree to be general. And then Mimir says, you know, I'll be by your side. What are your orders?
Yeah.
Like, oh.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Swalpo just points out, tell them about Mimir teaching Atreus to woo. Did you guys get that line at all?
Yeah, I got it.
I fucking laughed my ass off. Did you get that one, Fringy?
I'm not sure if I did.
So, basically,
you have to go back to Sindri's house after the game, basically.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Basically, Kratos asks Mimir if Atreus knows how to woo.
Some Angraboda, basically, and then Mimir says, like, I gave him some basics. You know,
it's so great. It's so fun. Oh, man.
The line that made me laugh the most in the game was "Stop with the stupid chime." That was that got me.
Dude, when I got to that part, people in chat were like, "Hit the chime as many times as you can." It's like, okay, I guess something is gonna happen. And it's like, okay,
it's just Drake's character. It's just like, you know, he's like, oh, you know, hitting the chime to annoy me. Like, that's not going to work. Stop with the stupid chime!
He's so angry.
He almost drifts into, like, a South Park delivery.
It's perfect. He's such a good little squirrel fella.
Yeah. Ratatoskr, out of all the characters, I'm not even sure entirely why. We're going to probably talk about it on the deeper dive, but when he got introduced, I was like, holy fuck, what a design. Look at this guy.
Yeah.
Holy shit, this is fantasy for you.
He's so detailed.
I just love when he, like, climbs around Kratos, and Kratos like, what is happening?
Yeah. Like, it's the fact that people have said that this is like MCU humor and writing, like, is driving me insane. I can't believe that, like, at this point, characters, like, being in situations that are interesting and funny is considered, like, Marvel humor. It's just really easy to have Kratos, like, very, like, straight-faced, just be perplexed and baffled by moments, and it's amusing. And then, of course, having Mimir just be, like, a funny guy who says funny things all the time. Like, it's a great balance of comedy and drama.
It really is.
Because, of course, it's very focused on drama, but, like, the comedy never feels like it's coming at the expense of the drama. Because the game knows when to not, like, do that. It knows when it needs to take everything totally seriously.
Dude, this game got so many laughs out of me, and a lot of it, I think, because I've seen other playthroughs, they don't hit people as much, but a lot of it was like smaller shit, like when you first bring Tyr back, and no, that one's great. We'll go with that one next.
Yeah.
But when Sindri is like, "Oh, Tyr, it's so great to see you. I'm so glad you're alive," and he goes, "Am I?"
Am I?
And then it immediately just goes, "Okay."
Okay.
I fully believe Sindri doesn't know how to deal with that. He's like, okay, yeah.
Sure. Brok is just hilarious though. Like Brok just has so many funny things to say all the time.
Dude, I love Brok.
Yes.
Yeah, Brok is. They're fucking phenomenal. They were throughout the game. They knew what they were doing. They knew what they had, and you can tell someone on the board of writers was like, "It would be pretty potent if we kill one of these guys."
Yeah.
And you'd be like, "Yes, it would."
And they had the balls to do it, which is the most. They had the balls to do it.
They had to do a lot of work to set up a kill for Brok, and they did it brilliantly.
Dude.
Well, yeah, because it's as been said before, the character who sees through the facade, like that Odin has created with Tyr, is the guy who is just matter-of-fact, blunt, straightforward, just like, wait a minute, like, what you've told me just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And everybody else is kind of willing to let it slide, and he's like, no, wait a minute, like, wait, that doesn't make any sense. What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, that, what does he say exactly? Like, the pieces aren't fitting together?
They're
like
not welding together right.
Yeah, like, he breaks it down into the mechanic, because he's just a very practical, like, a practical person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, what's cool about that scene as well is when he announces he has a way into Asgard. If you see Freya in the background, he's like, "Huh? Like you just have a way into Asgard?" Like like even he is like, "Oh, well that doesn't seem very." But like, I can believe in that scene, and it's so cool because the soundtrack is doing it. It's this rousing moment of action and potential. But it's like, no, fuck off, music. What are you?
What are you talking about?
Hang on,
makes sense.
What you said doesn't make any fucking sense. Yeah, and it's like, what do you call him Loki for? His name is Atreus. And where are you going with that mask? And knocks it out. The boy earned this. The boy earned this mask. It's like, oh shit. Get him, Brok.
Yeah. Upon rewatching, I just keep an eye on different faces, and like Sindri is just looking concerned in that whole moment because he's just like not sure what to make of all of it.
Yeah, Brok is just looking like like with his head to the side, like at tears, like, oh, wait a fucking minute. That don't make no sense.
I love it because Brok and Sindri have both been like the fucking kings of transport, and so the idea that this guy has got a way to Asgard that they didn't even know about is like, hang on.
How did you know? That's impossible.
And I mean, ultimately, it's like in terms of creating, like Brok is essentially responsible for like saving the day. Ultimately, if it wasn't for him, Odin would have won.
Yep, exactly.
So like Brok essentially died to save everything.
And a lot of it was motivated by, don't call Atreus Loki, you fuck.
Yep.
No, exactly. Yeah. It's just like, he's Atreus, why you call him Loki? That's what all the Aesir guys are calling him. But he's Atreus.
And all Odin had to do in that part is just play along. Don't lose the cool, but I think it's like it's kind of peppered throughout the game that he really doesn't like the dwarves, or Brok specifically. Like, doesn't he say at some point never really cared for the blue one or something along those lines?
He says, I never really cared for him, but you can't deny he has talent in relation to the spear. So it's saying I never really cared for him. It's just like, ugh.
Yeah. And they just straight up stabs him. He even says right after, it's like, that was not the plan, but hey, consider us even after Heimdall, which is a bargain, I think he says. It's like, oh,
maybe, I was about to say maybe in practicality, but then again, no, Brok is amazing in terms of practicality, so I can't even argue that, but Odin, this is what I mean. Odin is like pissed they took Heimdall away from him, but why? It's like because he was useful, not because you liked Heimdall.
Yeah.
And like everyone there is fucking distraught in that scene, not because they've lost the guy who can make them armor. It's because they've lost their friend.
Yeah.
Their friend, yeah. Like
which
Kratos
is
said, Mural, one of the few people he called friend.
Yeah.
Which obviously makes sense, right? Because Brok and Kratos have a lot in common in terms of their temperament and the way that they speak and conduct themselves. You know, like they're very just plain speaking, honest. You know, not like, and of course, it's like Brok was one of the first people to help Kratos.
Yeah, it's the first NPC you meet, right? In 2018. Yeah. It's pretty great. I'll say just the recontextualization again while it's on screen with Thor pouring those 2 cups of mead.
Yeah, for Kratos and Atreus.
Yeah, and Thor says, "Well, he could have told me, then I wouldn't have poured 2." Like in the first playthrough, it was like, okay, I guess. Aren't you missing one?
It's a little bit clunky until you understand exactly what he means by that, because you have no idea at this point.
Yeah, because he stopped drinking and he was pouring one for Atreus and one for Kratos.
Well, and of course you have him. He smells it.
Yeah, because
you can tell he really likes it because he wants to drink it.
He would love to, but he made a promise. Yeah, it's man. Just the second playthrough just makes you appreciate to hate Odin even more. Because if you start listening to fake Tyr, it's like, man, you're really good at this lying shit, aren't you? They did such a great job in that regard. I'm just trying to think of an example that stood out, because there's a lot of them that where he cause the whole broom closet thing, just him playing up. It's like, I've been tortured here for so long, like I don't even know if you guys are real, which we all were like in the beginning. It's like, oh right, yeah, that makes sense. Like he did, and we don't know what Odin did to Tyr. Like he's probably thinking he's
and Odin's relying on using that as an excuse for why he doesn't know. Remember they asked him questions about the giants, and he's like, oh, they were private people.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, he doesn't know fuck all about what the giants told Tyr.
Yeah, and then small stuff, like they get out of the mine and he goes like, it's so bright, sorry, it's been a while with the sunlight, and like, you fucker, I hate how good you are at this, and I kind of appreciate it, but I still want to kill you.
It's just funny, all the writing I appreciated about Tyr before I found out the twist, I was just appreciating Odin and his pantomime, basically. Which is another form of appreciating the writing in this game. It's just really neat.
Yeah.
Odin set out an arc to portray that Tyr had. He
had me fooled all the way until he transformed and stabbed Brok. I was like, fuck yeah, we get God of War Tyr. I can't wait what the fuck he can do. And then things happen.
You can hear me in my stream, I think, when Brok says, like, you don't got no things. I think in the stream, I'm like, because I'm just like, yeah, that's true. I wasn't at all thinking what was about to happen. I was just like, yeah, you don't really have stuff. Like, if I were in that room, I'd be so chill. I'd just be like, yeah, I guess that's a bit strange, but yeah, it's Tyr, he's fine. And then he fucking stabs Brok. I'm like, what the fuck?
No, yeah, it's good stuff. And the constant egging on to get Atreus into Asgard and get him back after he leaves for the first time. Just calling him champion, and it's like, maybe this and that. And I think right before Atreus goes there for the second time, it's like, wait, because he's Tyr, in the form of Tyr, when he figures out that Heimdall died. So at this point, he probably has to hold him back quite a bit, and it's like, But Odin said there won't be any conflict as long as there's no more Aesir blood on your hands, or something along those lines. And Kratos is just like, well, I refused that deal. And it's like, yet he honored it. It's like,
It was a really fucking weird thing to say.
Yeah, it is.
Another weird thing to say is when Kratos denies Atreus going to Asgard to finish the mask. He's like, it's incredibly dangerous, and then Tyr just goes, well, it's dangerous all the time.
Yeah, he's in danger where he stands. It's like,
yeah, it is dangerous all the time, but going to fucking Asgard to meet Odin, you don't think that's a little different, Tyr?
Right after Heimdall died, it's like,
Yes.
But I guess it was the best move they had, because Atreus even asked, like, Mimir, like, from a tactical standpoint, well, that makes sense. It's like, I don't like it, but it's probably the best shot we have right now. And yeah, they do. And then he goes back to Asgard. Odin is waiting for him. It's like, Heimdall died. You got any info on that, maybe? I don't know, maybe? Just pretending, because obviously he knows already what's going on. And Atreus is then lying. It's like, oh yeah, I didn't think you had anything to do anyway. So, yeah, okay, let's go grab that mask thingy. It's like, man, you sneaky, sneaky bitch. Oh yeah, did you guys get the Raven line all the way at the end? I think someone told me Mutually did not get the Raven line, like the Odin's ravens that you destroy.
Which line?
I don't know. It doesn't sound familiar.
Because when you finish that thing and you go back there, you basically get to know that all these Odin's ravens were children that were killed.
Well, I mean, I killed the Revenant thing, so I should have got that line, right?
Yeah, I think it was like all the way at the end. But yeah, they were all kids. It's like, damn.
It's almost worse than that. It's Odin hired that Revenant lady to basically like convert children's souls into those ravens to act as spies throughout the realms. It's fucked up.
Yeah, it's like the souls of children. You're like, damn, Odin, you're an evil motherfucker, aren't you?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, whose own parents hung them. Yeah, it's like, oh, it's vile. And yeah, then of course after you finish the game, you go back to Niflheim to those ravens. So all of a sudden there's a new path that opens. I was like, oh, what's going on there? It's like, oh, it's a prison. That's weird. This wasn't here before. And then you venture down, and who do you find? The real Tyr. He's been chilling in there this whole time. I mean, chilling. He was imprisoned, of course. It's like, oh, okay. And you actually don't get too much of that Tyr. He's like in 5 of the realms, I think, and you can go check him out.
He comes across as a very neutral character almost.
Yeah. He's like, oh, I'm gonna go around and check out what's been happening, pretty much. And apparently the things he does in the different realms have to do with different realms. I think the one of the devs said that in an interview or something. It's like little hints at the different realms he visited, apparently. But yeah, you can...
The things he did in the realms that are clue to what he went...
Yeah, like those weird hand things he does in Vanaheim, for example, apparently that had something to do with another realm he was. And I would need to check exactly what was meant. But apparently it's like little bits and bobs because he was in different realms and things he learned there, I think, was the idea. But the dev was very vague on that. That's just all he said, basically. It's like, I want to get in trouble. It's like, oh, little hinty hints.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised now if we're going to get more answers about what happened in this game in the future games. I think there's a couple of... I'm pretty sure Cory Barlog said the answer to who called Jormungandr in 2018 is yet to be answered. We haven't got that yet.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
You can... I'm pretty sure he said, like, you can try and guess, but some people have done some obvious suggestions, and he's actually said no to some of them.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So I have a feeling they might be trying to go with something crazy with that, maybe. Maybe a god from a different world. I don't know.
Oh.
I mean, the fact is, Jormungandr, they didn't finish his story, so to speak. He's still around, so...
Yeah,
he is still around.
We saw the Jotunheim Jormungandr. He was yeeted back in time for his little time thingy there. But our Midgard Jormungandr, he's just sleeping somewhere, chilling in the ice. It's pretty neat. Man, so many good things. Just so many good things.
I know. Well, I guess it's probably worthwhile. Atreus.
Yeah, he is. Oh, wait, I could just start with that one. I mean, we instantly learn that he definitely has been heavily trained by Kratos, because Kratos expects to die, basically, judging by that mural he saw. So he has somewhere back in his mind, it's like, oh, if that actually happens, I need to get Atreus ready. And we see that instantly in the beginning of the game, where he's just like doing things on his own, and he's grown up a little bit, of course, just doing things, and he really wants to learn his own, or go his own path, write his own story, basically, make his own mistakes, as they say it in the game a whole bunch of times, and.
I mean, his core motivation is, I've got to act to prevent prophecy from simply running out its course and my dad dying.
Exactly, yeah.
To the point where he's willing to go to Asgard because he believes he can at least kill Odin and prevent him from killing his dad.
Yeah.
But obviously lots of different things. That's a big thing to understand what pushes him to make a lot of decisions in this game. Because the criticism would come in of like he makes some crazy reckless decisions in this game, and it's just like, well, it's all based on very high stakes situations of he's got to get shit done. And Odin is at least vaguely aware of what Atreus wants. Like the way he treats him as soon as he meets him is like gives him complete freedom and tells him to do whatever he wants and gives him whatever he wants. Like, oh, you like this sword? Yeah, you can have it, man. Yeah, it's a pick of the job, it's right there. Go ahead, go nuts.
Go nutty. Yeah, and obviously being frustrated with his dad. It was like, you can't just do nothing. Like, it's very, very very interesting when he says, stop thinking like a dad for a second and think like a general. And Craig's like, no.
Yeah, he's not going to do that.
That's definitely nothing he wants to do, which he does at the end. He has to.
He does at the end.
Which is really cool as well, of course. It's just very frustrated. He wants to prevent Ragnarok or whatever's going to happen. And of course, when he learns that is about the mural, he's like, well, I gotta do something. And then he's confronted with Angerboda, who's like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, but it's gonna happen. Like, that's how it's written. Can't do shit about it. And that's something Atreus does not want to accept because he doesn't want his dad to die, of course. So he goes out to do his own little thing. And he basically starts immediately because she gives him the marbles. I was like, here, the prophecy says you know what to do with it. And like 15 minutes later, it's like, okay, you can take them back. That's what I think is best. And Angerboda is like, wait, what? Are you sure? And he goes like, no, but I think that's the best choice. I was just looking at the fight with Thor. It's just so cool.
Yeah. Unstoppable force meets an immovable object is this fight.
Can I just be two unstoppable forces?
Yeah, but that's not a saying, is it? Two unstoppable forces.
It's quicker than what you said.
It's quicker, but it's not. Oh, so quicker. Wow, fucking long man here saying that
quicker better.
Is better.
Yeah,
wow.
I stand by that.
I also really like how they portrayed the Norns, where it's not like, yeah, we know that is gonna happen. It's just the nature of you behaving.
Yeah,
it's just
more predictable.
Yeah, you're just so predictable. That's why it says you can change, she can't change, he can't change.
And they're wrong. Bullshit from God of War 2, like the way they did the Fate storyline in that compared to this.
Yeah, I love that Freya says, that's the most dangerous and irresponsible thing I've ever heard.
And it is the most dangerous and responsible part of the entire fucking franchise. It's absolute nonsense insanity, but hey, it's fine.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
It's also great when Mimir goes like, oh, your stories are clearly exaggerated. Fighting the fates and changing your fate, that's clearly wrong. It's like, no, what do you mean exaggerating? No. That's exactly what happens. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and having the Norns, they're basically like, it could be as simple as their powers just to know the ins and outs of a person to the point they know them so well, they can essentially do, like, funnily enough, this is what Devs was about. It was about knowing all variables, and so you can predict everything that's going to happen. They likely are creatures that are just aware of so many variables, they can pretty much guess at how things are going to turn out in terms of what people are going to do and why, and how things are going to, and that's all they seem to be commenting on. When they say, like, you are going to die and it's a pity your story will end so soon, we have no idea what they're referring to. It could be a death in 100 years from now. Time is going to be pretty relative to people like them, and he is going to die. He's not going to last forever. So, like, it feels like they said a bunch of shit to fuck with him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just to see what he would do. And, they're messing around. They seem like trolls to some degree, but they're also just, like, happily aware of how much everything seems to work, and they enjoy watching how everything turns out. Especially, like, you know, the whole, like, oh, he tries to avoid grunting and he fails, and the grunt, and you know, talking about how why did Balder die? Well, because Balder couldn't stop seeking revenge, because Freya destroys the thing she tries to protect, and you kill gods.
Yeah. That's your nature.
They're simplifying all of it, but, you know, their point is pretty clear. There is no fate. You're very predictable.
Yeah.
And, you know, and Kratos comes to terms with the fact that I'm fine with being predictable if the aspect is I defend my son from death. Fine.
Yeah, exactly. That's like his whole thing. It's like, I do whatever is necessary to make sure that Atreus lives and gets to live. That's why he's training him. That's why he's getting that spear at some point. It's just,
Yeah, and then the culmination of the Norn section is Mimir trying to warn him. It's like, yeah, but that's going to lead to you killing gods. You don't want that. And he's like, I don't care if it leads to me killing gods if the motivation is to save Atreus.
Yeah. Talking about the spear, that spear scene with Brok and Kratos, that was pretty fucking fantastic.
Those sneaky bastards. It was a really great scene on its own, and then it makes it hurt even more when they take Brok away.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh,
I knew what they were doing.
They set up this whole thing. I know, like, pretty early on, like, you and me, MauLer, who were like, oh, we probably get like a side quest where we get his last part of the soul back and stuff. Like, that makes a lot of sense. Nope. Because the part of the soul that is missing for him is direction, which is the one you need to get the rest of your soul to the light of Anaheim? Alfheim, sorry. But he doesn't have that anymore, and when he dies, he doesn't go back there. He's even been he does not only die, he just basically doesn't exist anymore. He doesn't even get an afterlife. Like, he's just he's denied the afterlife.
You get something partially reassuring from Durlin. He says, I don't know, man, afterlives of afterlives, maybe. There's maybe something out there.
Yeah.
It sucks.
Yeah, and that quick setup and payoff with the nature of things. Oh, fuck, I had it written down here somewhere because I love that line. What was it? It's not the nature of the thing, or it's not the form of the thing, it's the nature of a thing, right? That was the line. Yeah. And Brok just grabs the win, and it's like, okay, that works. And then when Kratos comes back out of the... or when they both come back out of the forge, it's like, I still need the blessing of a great blacksmith, and Kratos kneeling down in front of him. It's like, hey, can you bless this? And then he does. It's like, yeah. Because Brok says, what can I bless? I can't bless shit. And it's like, it's and he just says the line back to him. It's not the form of the thing, it's the nature of a thing. It's like,
Well, and his blessing's pretty awesome too, right? Like, may it strike true and only be put down once his job is done. Sort of shit. It's just like, nice.
That was a good thing. And then this little spit on it. It's like, pooh. Oh, dude,
because
on my second playthrough, when they start setting up the fucking riddle, I was already choking up. I was like, you fuckers.
Yeah, well, one of those is optional. You can miss an attempt from Mimir to solve an additional riddle, I think, and getting annoyed, of course. And, I can't remember, when's the line come up where he says, like, I can't let him win, that he's like, he already has.
Yeah.
Because you're thinking about it so much. I can't remember when exactly that happens, but that's another good part of it. But
yeah, I think it's
I was going to say,
somewhere. Yeah.
Optional dialogue that happens, I think, once you get back from getting the spear and you're in Sindri's house, and you see Sindri and Brok are having a back and forth where he's like, so did it all go well? And he's like, was there a reason you expected it not to? And he's like, no, I'm glad it went well. And
sure, nothing happens.
He goes, it was a proper adventure to boot. I taught him all about the nature of the thing and the form of the thing. It became a whole motif. And then he goes, you're making up words again. And he goes, I said it was a motif and it was beautiful. Goes, you are impossible.
But smooth as snail's shit or something, he says as well.
When he says you are impossible, his response is, I'm the most possible one around here.
Brok is so great.
Yep.
They couldn't have picked a better character to die, I think, to be honest.
It's another great choice in terms of almost the ludonarrative dissonance idea that he seems safe because he's our blacksmith.
Yeah, he's like this utility character, basically.
Yeah, you wouldn't expect that. Freya is almost you'd be like, it could make sense to kill him. He's got he's little weight. He's got meaning to several characters and story. And I'm pretty sure he dies in the myths as well in Ragnarok. So there's like a little bit of he could definitely die. But Brok, I probably would have expected to say like, he'll be safe. I don't think they'd kill him.
Yeah, same. But they very sneakily set up Lunda as the backup because at the end, of course, Sindri and Brok are gone. And you'd be like, oh shit, how are we just not getting any upgrades this whole time? And then Lunda's just here like, yeah, I'm doing the thing now while the others are gone. It's like, good shit, good job. You didn't just put a random funny character in there. You actually have use for that character.
If you go to Sindri's instead of Midgard to see Freya and start up the war stuff, she's the only one there, and she just says like, I know it's a difficult time, but I just wanted to know I'll be here and in their forges because if you need anything, sort of thing. It's just like because she's a close friend of Brok's and Sindri's, so it just makes sense that she'd pick up after him, sort of thing.
Oh, that's just a really funny dialogue between Kratos and Lunda. Where he's like, hey, if you don't want me to, be so nice to you, Kratos, you just have to just tell me to stop. And Kratos is like, no. It's like, even you like to be called handsome, huh? This is really good.
Well, and that's probably the time to mention it. Someone in chat just did as well, Yoke Sploosh, but the Freya completed another of several thousand billion arcs. She allows Freya to sacrifice himself.
Yeah,
like it's just parallels with Baldur. She wouldn't let him die, but she let Freya die. Like he made his choice, sort of thing. And she brings it up when you last see her, and handing back the mistletoe to Atreus.
Yeah, I actually kind of forgot about that even being a thing. Because when she took it away, it's like, is Kratos gonna notice it's gone or something? But no, it's just the setup for all the way there, and it's like, here, you earned this. You became a formidable warrior. And your mother was right. You did grow into that bow. It's like, oh man, good shit. That's another fucking payoff from 2018.
I was saying this to Fringy. I don't know if I've ever said it to you, Mel, but my assessment or my headcanon for why is it that Kratos can kill fucking everybody? What's going on? Like, because he seems to be pretty damn powerful, but he always seems to beat them no matter what. Going as far as like Kronos or Zeus, Odin. Like he always pulls it off. It's like, what's going on? He's like, because he's just a god, right? And it's like, I think the canon I would go with, and I think it's starting to actually be something that they're considering in game. There's a particular reference I would go with.
Okay.
It's not just that he's a god; it's the Spartan training. It's the
that's a good
born and treated a human when he was growing up, given some of the harshest fucking training and discipline ever for strength and agility and skill, and then given god power on top. It makes him more formidable than any other god, because most gods, and this includes like Thor and stuff, it's just like they already knew they were going to be super strong and powerful.
That's a good point.
Often, I really got this sense. It was in the 2018 game that gave me this. Is when it's one of the fights with Baldur. He's kind of winning, and then you Spartan rage, and Baldur's like, "What?" Like in the fight, he's like, "What the fuck's going?" And it seems to me it's just like, he's expecting a fight, but that's like a hack, Spartan rage, and it's like a multiplier on top of being a god. And some of them really made me think about like they must be going with that angle is when she's making the spear. And she pulls the blood out of him. It makes two symbols. One is the Greek god of war symbol, and the other one is the Spartan symbol.
Yeah.
It's like the two big factors that makes him the power that he is.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. I think I would sign that. That's a very good point. I like that.
Well, and part of it's so interesting is that he wouldn't want anyone to go through Spartan training.
Yeah, he says that to Freya, I think. It's like I never wanted him to go through Spartan training or anything like that.
Well, he says it to Atreus.
Oh, okay, right, okay.
And Atreus thanks him for it.
Yeah.
Because as much as this is the thing, Kratos would tell you like part of what makes him so, strong-willed and stuff is the Spartan training, but it wasn't worth the cost.
Yeah. Because they had to scrap for food and kill each other and everything. It's probably a pretty traumatic experience, to be honest. So, wouldn't let anyone go through that. I just had something in my brain, but it went away. Just the weapon you get being a spear. I think that's just a great fucking choice. It's not only it looks cool as shit, it's also just really fun to play. And also, it makes makes so much sense to give him a spear, because Brok is just like, oh, you're pretty good at this, and Kratos yells back at him while he's fighting. It's one of the first weapons you get as a Spartan. It's like, Well,
it feels like a nice way to blend both, right? You've got a weapon that's both Greek and Norse, in terms of how it comes about. And yeah, I mean, it's functionally very different from the other two.
And it throws a twist on all the prophecies. They assumed the spear holder was Tyr.
Yeah, but he gets a spear, so
I'm pretty sure the Grower Shrine, in the symbols and stuff, it has a shit ton of spears, not just one.
But
so cool.
It is really cool. It's a lot of it's just, I don't know, the more you talk about this game, it just gets better and better. It's insane. Also, another just thing I realized in my second playthrough, because Brok says at some point, it's like, oh, you still owe me the story of who made these blades. And Kratos wants to know how they made the axe.
Yeah, they're keeping that under wraps.
Yeah, and they both never get to learn, because Brok dies, Sindri fucks off. They'll never know. They don't get to know, which is just quite sad.
Yeah, like, we know they made the axe for Faye, and it was in response to Thor, but we don't know more than that. Because, like, the origin of how this spear came about is pretty fucking cool, but we don't actually know. I don't know if there's more information on how the Blades of Chaos were made beyond Ares and primordial fire, but
I think someone in my chat said you get to know in maybe one of the visual novels that Hephaestus made them, apparently. At some point, which would make sense that he would craft these weapons.
Hephaestus makes pretty much everything in that universe is powerful. So,
but yeah, that's, I think, all we get. Yeah, Brok's reaction to actually dying back in the days, like, this lying fucking bollocks man is really angry about this. It's really good. And Kratos is telling him, oh, he probably had a good reasoning, and Brok just goes like, yeah, but he has no right to choose, that kind of thing. It's like, and also, so you should probably know about this. Like, yeah, good point. Man,
the soundtrack, huh?
Dude, soundtrack is,
I could
man.
Oh man, like, I fucking, like, when they're getting ready to go to Asgard.
Oh man, I had that scene again today. It was like goosebumps. I don't think I had ever had that many goosebumps in the game. Just when people started talking and music kicking in.
It's too epic.
It's so
just too epic.
Good.
Like, I love it.
Yeah, it really is. Favorite track,
track? Yeah.
I mean, they're all great. I'm a big fan of Loki's theme, or just Sun's Path.
Sun's Path.
It's fucking great.
That's
actually, because I heard Faye's theme a couple of times today, I actually think that's a pretty darn good one as well. It's really fitting.
Oh, dude, the feels I got when they comboed up the choirs from both Faye's theme and Kratos's. Having them come in together, and then they unify, but like, hers is the the da 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 da, and then his is da da da. Those clash together and like sync, and then eventually the vocals for the female become da 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 as well. The implication, of course, being she comes into his life, they combo up, she's gone, but she's a part of him forever.
Yeah. That last conversation between Kratos and Faye as well is, like, in the dream, I mean, when they go around putting up the staves, and she tells him about what she wants to happen if she dies, spreading the ashes from the highest peak of the realm and whatnot, where she says, if you open yourself up to the world like you did to me, you will find lots to live for. It's like, man, that's powerful shit. Because that's what ultimately gets him to become the general of that siege, right?
I think my favorite my favorite track is probably the main theme, actually. The main old
it's
theme for the game.
Very epic.
Yeah, the last part, which is the part that plays when they're about to go into Asgard for Ragnarok. It's too good. I'm just the simplicity of it. It's just 3 notes, but they're so powerful and so versatile.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways that you can use those notes. It's really impressive. I also really like the little part that plays when Kratos finds the mural. Like that little section right through to the end again, which leads again into the God of War theme. It's too good.
It's really good. Just him realizing it's like I just found a path that I never thought would be possible. Like people liking me as a god and not, I don't know, hate me or fear me. They just like me because I've helped them. It's like, man. Rabe's lament gets the tears flowing. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, that one's great.
Man, that fucking...
Also, yeah, if it isn't clear, the entire soundtrack is a fucking masterpiece.
It's amazing.
The hand of Odin and the hammer of Thor.
Yeah.
Being the first and second Thor fights, fucking glorious.
Blood Upon the Snow
and they all
has
have,
been mentioned a lot in chat. It's like, yeah, that's a good tism as well.
The Old Father.
Yeah, that's...
There's a part of that All Father song that is fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Listen to the soundtrack, guys.
It's quite a soundtrack, yeah.
Fantastic.
And the more you listen to it, the more you'll spot all the leitmotifs coming in. All of the Asgardian songs have a similar sound going through them. Obviously, all of Kratos' ones have the standard duh, 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 but they keep changing up how it works.
Yep. Fucking great. Hey, what about Sindri? We haven't talked about Sindri yet, really.
We haven't.
Yeah. What a sad arc he had to go through. Jesus.
Yeah, pretty much. It's tragic.
Man.
Yeah.
It's just this going around being like, ooh, germs, gross, and being like kind of funny, strict with things, not cursing or anything. And I think it all starts to fall apart when he gets hit by Atreus as a bear for the first time. It's like kind of
I think it's always been there. If you just keep an eye on it throughout all the games, Sindri just doesn't get treated as well as a lot of people.
No.
He Kratos never quite trusted him, never quite liked him, and let's be honest, never gave him what he deserved, which was a hell of a lot of thanks. Brok got his moment with Kratos.
That's a good point,
to the point where even Brok says soon after it, like, thank you for what you said. They both know what happened in that scene. It wasn't some like, oh, I need you to bless it because it's just a logical choice. It was like, no, you're a friend. You did that to make me feel better, and I appreciate that. But Sindri never gets that, despite Sindri doing a shit ton for these people. And I think that they start sort of needling at it. If you remember in Svartalfheim, we need realm travel. It's like, okay, we've devised this incredibly clever way of using the Bifrost eyes that Mimir has, the Bifrost light in your Bifrost, to open up fucking all of realm travel. And what is Kratos' response? I used that for light.
Right.
And Sindri's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I'll try and fix it." It's like he just did something incredible, and you're like, "Where's my fucking torch, bro?" Like, okay,
that's actually a very good point.
He interrupts them after they meet Durlin, or I can't remember if it's before or after they meet Durlin, but he's like, "Oh, hey, I've got you your torches now. Sorry, I didn't, blah, blah, blah." I think he says like, "Thank you for, stopping to let me give these to you, even though, you should be thanking me because I, have given you something that's kind of amazing." So here they are. Like, it's just like this really awkward, like, man, I do a lot for you guys.
Yeah.
And what does he do with Atreus? He tries to keep an eye on him and protect him. And that's what he argues to Kratos. It's like, I'm not encouraging him. He was going to do it anyway. I'm just trying to look after him.
Mm-hmm.
And then ignoring, like when Kratos is just like, no, fuck you, Brok's going. And he won't even give Sindri a chance to explain why it might be important that he go instead of Brok.
Yeah.
And like, why is all that happening? It's because, well, Sindri didn't want his brother to die. Mm-hmm. Sindri is a fucking legend, and he's just not treated very well in these games. I just think it was a breaking point. He was like, you know what? Fuck all of you. You're all fucking assholes.
Yeah.
I don't think someone said, why do they hate Sindri? I don't think they hate him. Nobody quite gave him what he deserved, and it can happen sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It's really unfortunate because I think if given the opportunity, there would have been plenty of people appreciating what Sindri does. It's just that things didn't play out that way.
Yeah. It's just when they go to Sindri, when he went back to the to Tyr's temple, and Atreus wants to apologize. And it's like, ugh, it's a rough scene. I'm just gonna try to get the picture I sent you earlier here real quick. For some reason, it's not the right size for that window, but I think you know that pain yourself. I should do it. Yeah, because he then goes like, oh, I gave you my skills, my home, my friendship, my treasures and secrets, and you just kept taking. And now what do I have? Not even my family. And then he goes like, you want...
The delivery of that line is fucking sad.
Yeah, you want sorry? This is what sorry looks like. And then he has like, why is this did not do the thing I wanted it to do? Can't see it fully. Hang on. There we go. Like, this is what sorry looks like. Like, he's not wearing any gloves. He's dirty. He's full of blood. He does not give a shit. He curses. It's like, man, he's in a bad way. And yeah. And even Atreus realizes, like, there's no making this good, is it? And Mimir just says, like, no. And even Atreus saying, like, I thought we were his family. And Kratos just saying, we were. It's like, damn. And yes, I said, the voice acting on this is like, I'm
pretty sure when he's smithing and Kratos says, mourn how you wish, he does a small pause when he says that and then continues hitting.
Yeah. He's also, I think he's using Brok's hammer in that scene. I'm pretty sure.
Someone super chatted that to me. Apparently, it's the Anvari's hammer, the one you got a quest line for Brok in the previous game.
Okay.
So it is Brok's hammer. It's the one that you got for him.
Damn.
And he's already crafting the sword he's going to be using in Ragnarok, basically.
Yeah. Punished Sindri is quite something. Very sad, and we maybe never get to know what he does after this, because he just vanishes after the funeral. I was like, yeah, we might never know what happens to him. It's might be the last thing we see.
He's Kratos in the beginning of God of War 1. Where you've just done the thing, you have nothing but hatred, and you want to kill everything. That's basically where he's at, and it's really interesting because not learning this fucking lesson of just everything dies is like Odin killing Brok is what eventually leads to Odin's death. A fucking dwarf killed him.
Yeah.
And it's not even a dwarf like a god dwarf or a dwarf that plays like a huge role or it's someone who had great access. It is a blacksmith dwarf that you wouldn't even thought about twice, but you killed someone you cared about, and so that's enough.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, punished Sindri. I feel really bad for Sindri. At the end, it's like, like Kratos even tries during the funeral. He goes like, Brok was, and he just pushes away his hand. He just looks angry at him, doesn't really know what to say, and then just kind of stumbles away and vanishes. So yeah, when after Brok dies, it's like, I forgives ya. And Sindri just starting to break down, and we see for the very first time him disappear with the effect and everything. He's not going to the side or behind something. He just doesn't care. He just vanishes. Fuck the secret or whatever it is. I'm just out of here.
I want to really give credit to Rags for being the one that really hyper-focused on that and made me think more about it than I had. Like, the reason I want it credited is because it's just so bizarre that it was Rags that focused on that out of everybody. It's not even the fucking... He didn't even fucking play 2018. And he asked if that was the case in 2018.
If we didn't see that? Oh, okay, that's cool. That's nice that
he was guessing at it. He said, like, I'm assuming you've never seen it before, and that's part of it. It might be still. I don't know if it is right now, but he might. He said it's one of his favorite moments in the whole story.
Yeah, I can see that. It's very good, very powerful. Attaboy, Rags. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, when they I think right after that is there. Yeah, because Kratos says, like, it's not justice we seek, it's vengeance. And then he pauses for a little bit and goes, like, every path I walk seems to lead back to vengeance. And he's like, I didn't want to do any more ceaseless fighting or whatever. I just want to chill with all I wanted to do was chill with my new family and get some peace. But
I think there's a lot going on there, but part of it is just you killed Brok, you're dead now.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it works.
You killed a friend. Imagine killing a friend of Kratos.
Yeah, he doesn't have any friends usually.
Yeah, it's like, well, wait, you killed whose friend? It's like, you're fucked, mate.
Yeah, and Odin's just like, whatever, it's a fucking blacksmith. You killed Heimdall. It's like, I don't think you understand, my friend. Like,
yeah, that's where he says, like, it's a bargain. It's just a blacksmith or something. It's, man. And just seeing those little bits in the dream sequences where where Kratos just opens up to Faye, says, like, I can't imagine you dying. Like, part of me would die with you. And then Faye just telling him to grieve deeply is to have loved fully. It's like, damn.
It all circles around. It's all about itself. Everything, it applies to all the events.
Yeah. Stop making me feel, game. I'm not used to feels anymore. I just used to hate your media things. Don't kill John Wick's dog or Kratos' friends, pretty much.
I mean, it's funny because, like, this is a story where it goes well beyond us saying, like, oh, this is the kind of story we want. Like, no, this is pretty much, we're getting close to peak with this one. This is pretty hard to improve. There's plenty of things you might be able to tweak and everything, but
yeah.
Holy fuck, the scope of what you're getting across in this.
Yeah, I mean,
the amount of mechanics you have to take care of. Like, nice job.
Yeah, I think everyone... Jesus Christ. Throat. Jesus, maybe I should sleep too. I think everyone kind of agrees that the first Anger Boda section should have been split up in like two parts or something, because that one drags
on. Or chop out significant portions of it.
Or chop things out, like make it one gathering thing and not three of them.
Well, to maybe give you an idea, right? So, like, what's going to happen is we're going to go through basically the whole story of the game, but I'm chopping out what you could consider fat as well as just stuff that I consider superfluous. Not useless, but... For example, I'm probably going to chop down the burger scene, because there's not a lot for us to. It's like if I were doing a full thing, I'd have it in and I'd put the side quest in and I'd put if you can walk up to him and he can tell you, like, you know, what his deal is when you first get into the camp and stuff. So, like, I could put all that in, or I could take it all out and we just don't talk about him. It's like, or we briefly talk about it because, you know, we've only got a set amount of time. But the Ironwood scenes, I've cut it so that I consider we keep all the important stuff, and it comes to 16 minutes and 25, I think. No, wait, hang on.
That sounds about right.
18 minutes? It's
that's what I would have said
if
you would have asked me. It's like, yeah, it's probably like 20 minutes of stuff that's really, really important. But I think the whole section took me like over an hour my second
playthrough. In which case I would say either one 40-minute section or two 25s, I think, would be acceptable. And so but what they did was it's like an hour and a half to 2, and it's just too long. Yeah. And this is the thing. I think people want to find more reasons than the reality, which is that it's just a little boring. And if you're like, well, that's not a very good reason, it's like, all right, well, so it's boring because we don't get a lot of development or information for the time it's costing us. Yeah, because it's almost the equivalent of an entire movie. And what do we get? Like, well, we get stuff. It's just not much.
Yeah, we get teenagers talking to each other who seem to like each other. That's
like an awkward beginning of a friendship. But the thing is, I don't want to deny, like, they do achieve. We get him understanding how to use his wolf transformation powers. We get his understanding of the prophecy and what does that mean to him. What does it mean to her state of affairs? What Jotunheim's state of affairs are, and what happened to the giants. And I think that's it in full. And you're like, oh, so that's a decent chunk. It's like, yeah, but it's not 2 hours worthy.
No, it's not. It's funny because even on my second playthrough, I knew how long it is, but still, at some point, it's like, okay, we got the Mallas, right? Next part now, right? It's like, oh no, wait, we have the whole Grola, the grandmother section. I think it was Gryla. So yeah, it's like, oh yeah, that's another half an hour or something. It's it's quite long. It's quite longus.
Yeah.
I wanted to hear your guys' opinion on the news thing that we find right after the Norns. I think that was set up in 2018.
I'd have to look into if there's additional references, but ultimately, like, it's one of the many things that Odin cost himself in trying to find more access to more knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's where Chad and I came to as well on the last stream when it happened. So yeah, it is set up in 2018. Hung himself for 9 days? Oh boy. Yeah, that's something I would need to check back because obviously
my assumption is that the Norns are providing it to our characters as a sort of thing to help use, or that was the place he did that, I guess.
That's what I thought. He maybe got some information from the Norns and then he tried to get get that new info over those hangings of 9 days or whatever.
Well, because he did, they did say he went to the Norns. I just don't know if he did the hanging thing in relation to the Norns. Maybe he did.
He hung himself to travel the tree. Odin's called the Lord of the Hanged because he hung himself to learn how to read runes. Really? Okay. Spent 9 days a dead man, and hell spat him out and sent him back. They were sick of him. This is asking too many questions.
I would have to. So apparently, it's in the Hanged Lord as a story. Yeah, I'd have to go and look at that.
Okay.
Not only from the original game, but if there's anything in this game, I don't know.
Do you think the mask is a reference because in the mask they say it holds the spirit of Loki? Yeah, it's actually a tie-in to the Mask of Jim Carrey. Yeah, good stuff. Oh yeah, the scene as well, like right after Brok dies, when they go home, and then Atreus asks, "Can we go hunting or something?" It's like, oh shit, you're doing the thing from the beginning, and just asking, "Hey, where you want to go, little brother?" It's like in the direction of deer. It's like, oh, you mad lads, you did it again.
I thought we talked about that, didn't we?
Did we?
Yeah.
We might have. Well, I liked it so much, I said it again.
Slightly new information that you're adding there that's pretty good is that Kratos in the beginning offers to train when Fenrir dies, and when you go to the training area, he says, he's like, why would he be training? And then he's like, well, I suggested he might train. And then Mimir's like, oh, Kratos, yes. I know you're trying.
He was grieving, yeah.
Because that's Kratos' response to grief. Yeah. You should train.
You already said that. Stop reminding me of Fields. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry, but I'm sorry. Yeah, good stuff. I mean, we could probably pick 1,000 little things, but hey, we're gonna do a whole EFAP tomorrow, which is probably gonna be 18,000 hours long.
Yeah, probably.
So here, I'm happy to call it here. I'd say. I think if you didn't catch it, Chad, we really love this game. Well, at least MauLer and I did. Yeah. Fringy likes it, apparently.
I think it's safe.
Fringy likes it.
No, I said I really, 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 really like it. Okay?
He's added some more really likes, but he's still not at love.
I need to think about it more.
No Heimdall and Odin. I mean, we can touch upon them. I mean, Heimdall.
We talked about Odin.
Yeah, we talked about Odin. We didn't talk about Heimdall though. I think we haven't talked to him at all.
Oh, we haven't talked about a lot of things, but I assume that's the part of the idea is that we're going to be repeating a lot of what you've heard today tomorrow.
Yeah. Just I actually don't know how you're going to do it chronologically or going through the characters. You'll see tomorrow, I would say.
It's going to be a thing.
Yeah, it's going to be really long. I'm going to have a long, nice sleep because I don't want to leave in the middle of it because I really love talking about this game. You could say it's currently my holy grail. I really like it. It's definitely my favorite of all time currently. And I just fucking love the God of War franchise. And I really hope they give us someday, like I don't know, like a full collection of all the games, like a nice little box. I would buy the fuck out of that. That would be grand.
It'd be really cool if they released a special edition of the game with a fucking full-size Mjolnir. Oh wait, they did.
Oh, I have it. I showed it off on stream, I think 2 days ago, because I really liked it. It was funny. I told you mutually. Like my mom really liked the Mjolnir. He's like, oh, it's cool. It's Mjolnir, Thor. It's like, do you even know what God of War is? Like, no, but it looks really cool. It's like, yeah, it's fair enough.
And hey, you know, if you're really having trouble with a big old nail in the wall that's not going in, well,
I wouldn't use
got
it
yourself. No, you shouldn't.
It's hard plastic, but I think you can break that thing quite easily if you would use that.
Yeah.
So
Dude, imagine it was made of like stone and steel.
I mean, you probably need to put like another 0 on the price tag for that.
And you need to be careful where you store it; it'll break through the table.
Yeah. I need to find something better to put it in, but I don't really have space for another display, really. So I don't know. It's currently just on a thing behind me somewhere. But yeah, good stuff. Let's do some super chatteroonies, shall we? If I find them with my eyes. So yeah, if you had any doubt on getting this game at some point, don't. It's really good.
The answer is simple. If you like 2018, you'll love it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. There are some people out there who are like, no, I liked 2018 and this was awful. It's like, you're an anomaly, go away.
Yeah, I don't know how you came to that conclusion. You confuse me.
I don't know, it's fine though. I'm kidding, it's fine. But it's a safe bet for those who like 2018.
Absolutely.
It's as safe a bet as those who like Dead Space 1 liking Dead Space 2. It's like, you're probably going to like it.
Yeah. Right, let's see here. Whoa, the prefab white people pog. I'm sad that in the super chats it doesn't give me the emotes.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a little prelude to tomorrow because tomorrow's going to be longer, and I think we have Mark on as well, right?
Yeah, and Theo. I don't know if they know what they're in for. I don't know if anyone knows what you're in for. Like, I've been warning you, but this is, you know. And the thing is, you might be like, no way we're going to be doing it for that long. It's like, this is the kind of thing I think that when we get started up, we'll be like, oh shit, 5 hours has gone by. Damn.
Yeah, it's going to be great. Mark After Dark? Mark the Cyborg.
Ooh, yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody thought the story was pretty good.
I would be surprised if not. If someone is tomorrow on there that doesn't like the story, is going to have a bad time.
A little bit, yeah.
So listen to... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Oh, say, yeah. Probably would. Go for
it. So listen to 3 non-spoiler reviews of Callisto. Seems a no-go. Since I already got it, I'll go through it and let you guys know. One of them is said to play Singularis instead, which is on Game Pass.
Is the thing to do right now to buy it like on PS5? Is that like the smarter thing to do?
No, console things seem to be fleamy as well. They also have
seriously?
And stuff. Yeah.
That game is fucked.
The PlayStation 5 version is the best version. Digital Foundry guy said it's the best version by far, which means even the Xbox version, it's got problems.
Oh my god, dude! What is going to happen to that game? Is it crushed? Is that's IP
pretty
dead if this is this launch?
That is a hype crusher for real.
Yeah,
because I think it's much easier for well-known IPs to get away with this, but like a new one, like
and then Dead Space comes out in like a month and a half,
which might just resurrect Dead Space as an IP instead.
Mm-hmm. Well, and of course the big thing is, aside from the technical issues, what if like a Dead Space is just better, which it probably will be by the sounds of like this game.
Well, something I was realizing from recently having watched some Dead Space footage, you guys will understand why eventually, don't you worry about that. I remembered like, oh yeah, Dead Space is cool. Like the way that you focus enemies, the way that you have to dismantle each one in a different way, the way you can use the dismantling of some enemies to benefit dismantling of others, the way you have the stasis, solving the physics puzzles, running around with the low grav, and then all of it being in a horror setting. It's like, Dead Space is a really fucking cool game.
It is.
And it was made at a time where they cared about trying to make mechanics that were a little bit more interesting as well. So
yes, it's of the era, the early 7th generation, like 2005 to 2010, was a really good time in terms of games leveraging like physics engines and new technologies to create novel gameplay scenarios and to create like really cohesive worlds that felt like alive. And it feels like we've reached a point where like the emphasis on graphics has led to those things falling by the wayside. So games look really good, but they don't feel as emergent as a lot of games back then did, or as detailed in anime, like in physics and whatnot. So yeah, Callisto Protocol comes out and kind of not great. Meanwhile, the Dead Space remake might come out and be like this really cool, faithful adaptation of the old game, but just with better graphics. And if so, it's like, damn, yeah, Dead Space. The spiritual successor might pave the way for the OG to come back.
That would be interesting. I mean, and on top of that, they have the Nouveau DRM on it as well, which is just garbage. Yeah. Sad. I was hoping for a double W here for us in the gaming sphere.
But I mean, I don't feel like
first,
it really now.
First thing I see about Callisto is just mostly negative on Steam. It's like, ooh, you gotta fuck up big for that.
I'm still chopping up footage, by the way. I just realized I never even noticed this in game, but Brok, when fighting someone, says, like, you know, like when you're like, hey, what are you up to? What's going on here? Before, like, he does the attack, he says, hey, what are we doing here, butt sausage?
He has some great insults.
What even? I could play it if you could try and make it out. What we doing, butt sausage?
Butt sausage.
What the fuck is a butt sausage?
I mean, fuckle is now part of my vocabulary. I think fuckle is so fucking great. Like when
does he mean a poo? A butt sausage? Is that what a poo is?
It's probably a poo, yeah. You butt sausage.
Great.
Ah, good stuff. Yay, Little Brand EFAP is now live. Ah, get banned. 150 plus people, power of MauLer returning to his stream. Also,
and Fringy.
Almost
and
up to...
Clearly Fringy and MauLer are the draws. It's not that metal guy.
No, clearly not.
Well, you got over 300 there.
Yeah, that's the first, actually. So, good shit. Glad people enjoy the flisms in my tisms. No, you're not worth the money. Oh, that's when I said, please chat in super chats. God of War is woke because Atreus is a furry, shaking my head. Stop, you fell for it.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Unironically about that Sindri Brok comparison, like, do you remember this even after you you get a difference of dialogue for this, by the way. If you walk up to the forge, just buy shit from Brok after you just sort of explore the new mechanics with it before you're about to leave when you meet Odin. Mm-hmm. If you leave straight away, I think as you're sailing down the road, Brok is just like, yeah, don't worry about saying thanks for the spear, it's fine, that sort of thing. But if you walk up to the forge first, Kratos says, thank you, Brok, this is a good spear. And he says, damn straight it is.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
when have you ever thanked Sindri for like anything other than casually just being like, huh, it fits? You know, like, it just makes me feel bad thinking about all of this. I don't know if it was deliberate or not, but yeah, it just feels like Sindri runs such a thankless job throughout both games.
Yeah.
And it just cracks.
Yeah.
It's a good catch. I didn't even think about that, but it's true.
Well, that's what I think. I think the characters didn't quite think about it. They were just like, no, we do like you, like, a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Like, jeez.
I just want to hug you, Sindri, even if you're dirty.
Yeah.
Stop, you fell for his trap. Have my money, Mural. Well, thank you. I'll take it. I take back what I said about MauLer's chat. His was just concentrated tism at times. Drinkers was non-stop cringe. Oh no.
Like I said, Drinkers was so weird that you couldn't even talk about the game. Most people would just be like, woke, no, woke, no, woke, no. It's just like, guys, we used to talk about games. I do wonder about these people who like are desperate for us to call it woke or not. I'm just like, welcome to EFAP, where we pretend it's the 90s, all right?
Yeah.
So that word doesn't exist anymore. You gotta describe it some other way.
I don't know, man. It's just like everything is woke and you have to point it all out. Like, it's how it comes across to me.
Yeah.
Like,
that's the thing.
What a lame way to talk about things.
we can't even have false positives if we don't use that as a format, and yet we still manage to get through what I think is the most extensive breakdowns of story on the internet. And that's not even a boast. That's just like an autistic level thing that we do.
It is, yeah.
And yet we don't cover that aspect. Nor do we cover any aspect. Like we don't decide whether or not it's sexist either. Typically speaking, we don't cover whether or not it's a gross male fantasy, an MRA project. Like we tend not to do the lenses.
All of these sort of weird meta kind of like analysis rather
Did
than
it
just
bridge somebody
for what
like,
it is.
Yeah, like we don't like. Was this person a Mary Sue? Did this person get fridge? Did this person get bury your gaze? It was like we always do it like heuristically, I think is the word, right? Where it's just like all the pieces.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of going like, did it satisfy a label? Like, I mean, the only label you could go was it good? Was it bad?
Yeah, because these lenses just, I feel like they destroy conversations. They date them. They fucking date those conversations too. It's where like the filter that you're using to analyze it is worthless in like 5 years or 10 years.
Yeah, because I saw someone in your chat mutually at some point just came in. It's like, hey, what's up? How woke is this? 1 out of 10. I was like, really? That's your first question? What are you doing? What are you doing?
What is the scale, by the way?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's pretty woke. It's like, no, this is hyper woke. Versus,
but that's the big thing
a little bit woke.
What I saw in Drinker's chat was this absolute like, we all agree on what woke is, right? It's like, no,
you
they
don't.
all have different ideas. So different.
Term.
So different that I've seen like every rating of between 1 out of 10 to 10 out of 10 for this game being woke. Like people have rated it all.
Using the metric of trying to figure out what it is as its own story, regardless of your weird political lenses, just taking the story for what it is, how well it was crafted. Like, man, that just produces much better conversations. I don't know. You can actually talk about it.
Yeah.
Well, because like one of the frameworks is like a false positive generator, as far as I'm concerned, is like, did they portray a father in a bad light? Like that is, if they see that, they're like, oh, that's one of those woke things. It's like, dude, this has one of the best portrayals of a father-son relationship in like any media for a long time. I don't even know.
Yeah,
like how you could just like, you'd have to consider that, right? Like this is some of it I just don't even understand in terms of it's like, oh, Faye is a Mary Sue. It's like she's dead.
Yeah, that's one I heard. Apparently, someone mentioned in Drinker's stream, and someone told me that while I was streaming.
On the super awkward part, of course, being that nobody knows about the side mission.
Yeah, she has anger issues. She destroyed a whole fucking city.
We already know that at the beginning of Ragnarok, because of what Kratos has learned about her, he takes issues with her. When the whole point of like Mary Sue is isn't like one of the core things about that meant to be like that the whole world loves them.
Everyone likes them, yeah.
Yeah.
Look at who doesn't like her. Thor fucking doesn't like her.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even Atreus is saying some mean things about her.
Yeah.
He even said him in 2018. How about we just talk about the story? I don't know. Like what?
Yeah, because that's what I mean. So you look at the standards and the requirements for the label, and you're like, they don't fit those requirements. And what is this label anyway?
I don't know what it means.
Why do you care? Why?
Yeah.
Well, the ultimate thing for me is that you're robbing yourself of some cool experiences by doing this.
Yep. Because of these weird lenses that you apply to stories. When if other people applied other lenses to these stories, you would think that they were stupid.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it in reverse, and the counterculture has snapped over to this other weird side. We ain't buying either of them.
No.
Yep. Yeah, it's not interesting to talk about, really. It's just annoying.
You just felt bad for Drinker. He was like, this is so cool when Thor and Kratos were fighting. Then he just like a super chat, like, but is it woke? And he's like, no.
It's like, I just started playing the game.
Stop it. Can you imagine Aoife being so woke with diversity hire of a German shaking my head? Also, hi, Fringy. Hope you're well.
Hey. Yeah. Oh, all right. Oh, hiccups.
Good. Uh-oh.
Jeez.
How's this game managed doing a far better job of a story than most TV and film nowadays? Well, I think they cared and they planned it in advance. Because a story like this...
I swear to fucking Christ, though, like, they need to realize good writing gets you sales.
Yes, exactly. Because this kind of story with these kinds of payoffs that we just barely touched upon. Like you could, if you go through this game with like a fine comb, like you find so many little things that you don't even realize. It was planned ahead. You don't make this kind of thing, this kind of media by accident. Like you don't accidentally make 2018. It's like, oh, that was pretty darn good. Let's make another one, and then it just happens to just all mesh together. It's not how it works. They care. They want this to be good, and you have to consider they made Ragnarok through the pandemic.
They did.
Yeah, they did.
And look what they fucking made. It's also, I think it's not, especially with Callisto Protocol just coming out, being an absolute train wreck in optimization. This game runs fucking amazingly. Like, I didn't have any stutters or anything. I think it could still need a little bit more polish. There's a couple of audiotisms that I had. I got soft lock a couple of times, like 1 or 2 times, I think. And sometimes the characters trip over each other with the dialogue, which can be a bit awkward. But overall, the game runs like it's a game you can play without your console exploding or something. Yeah, I think unfortunately that's worth pointing out these days, that you didn't get an unfinished game. Would have been nice to have New Game Plus from the get-go, but hey, I hope they put in new armor and everything like in 2018 when you do New Game Plus, so you can get some new cool stoof. But I'm sure we'll get one, because you get some really cool stuff when you finish the game, or in the end game. That would be fun to use in New Game Plus scenario, I think. So, yeah, good stuff. Who's Dad of the Year, Viserys or Kratos? Who's Viserys?
Oh my god.
Viserys. It's all right. It's okay.
Should I?
Viserys.
Viserys. Do I want to know who that is? Oh, is that Hot D?
It is Hot D.
Well, I'll learn eventually.
I shouldn't have to choose between them. That's rude.
No, don't go doing that.
Well, I say Kratos because I don't know the other one. Easy. Thanks for the
That's
super
racism.
Chat. Yeah. You find synthetic man's vid. I guess that's the guy that made that weird video everyone is talking about Ragnarok.
No idea.
I have not seen that. I haven't seen any videos about Ragnarok. I was busy playing it myself the last month.
Too busy playing Ragnarok to be watching any videos about Ragnarok, okay?
Yeah.
It would be a nutball idea for us to cover the game and then cover like some videos maybe that are critical of it to see how it's faring up. That's not really something EFAB does ever, so wouldn't expect that.
Yeah.
Writing-wise, Angerboda and Freya are the weakest IMO. Like, does anyone have emotional investment in Freyer's death?
You're wrong.
Other than that, Chef's Kiss. Freyer, not Freya. Freyer. Yeah, you need to be careful how you pronounce them. No, it's Angerboda and Freyer. Like, does anyone have emotional investment in Freyer's death? Other than that, Chef's Kisses.
From what we got of Freyr, he seemed like a pretty cool dude.
Yeah, I like.
Yeah.
I liked that he was insecure about his leadership, but he cared enough to try and bind everyone together.
Yeah. I think it's. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
And just obviously, I care about his death in as much as I care about what it means to Freya as well.
Yeah. I think mostly when I don't care that much about the characters is probably because they didn't really have that much screen time. Like Beer Gear yeeting himself off the ship is just like, oh yeah, that's nice of him, but I mean I haven't really done anything with you. You barely talk to me, so.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is, if someone said like, "Am I supposed to care about that?" I'd probably just be like, "Well, care about it as much as you want, I guess." He's a soldier in a war. Yeah,
exactly. And he does survive. You can get him, which is kind of neat. He's just kind of trapped.
Yeah, and it's not like the game is dependent on that payoff. It's a well, I was about to say it's a life lost in a rescue mission, but ultimately, obviously, you do get him back.
Yeah.
Think of it what you will.
Yeah. Say it, Fringy. You know it to be true. God of War 2018 is better than Red Dead Redemption 2. You know it's true.
It's been too long since I played Red Dead Redemption 2. It's just been too long.
I still haven't played that game. I still need to. That's one of the games I'm going to be streaming some year. I don't know. Coward. This game has so many amazing quotes. I don't know what's my favorite. Additionally, all the stories told while you're exploring are fantastic and funny. Yeah, absolutely. It's really worth exploring everything. It's quite something. All the side content is just really fun to do, and you get a lot of tidbits. I mean, as we said, the whole Faye side quest is just super, super good.
Honestly, that's the problem with a lot of people who are criticizing this game. I find I'm like, did you not do this side? Yeah. I know of someone who said they completed the game, they didn't get to the hard credits. Like,
man. Man,
and they're like, what? There's other credits. It's like, yes, there are, yes.
Yeah, and it's one of the best scenes.
Yes, it's integral to the fucking experience. It's a fucking brilliant scene.
I watched it today. I teared up again. Not as hard as the first time because I was prepared, but but man, that scene hits you hard. See, one issue I have is the game sometimes makes the player's POV, the character's POV, so they don't notice things, people that might not be in the frame, but logistically are there, so they don't react as fast as they should, especially the third act, like Freya entering the scene, choking Odin, but none of them notice until the camera shifts. Ah, I see what you mean.
Wait, what are they saying happens?
So basically, people that appear from out of the scene that you can't see from the camera, like Kratos, for example, should be seeing them already and shouldn't be surprised by them arriving.
What's the example?
In the end fight with Odin, when Freya arrives, apparently.
Is he surprised when she turns up?
I would need to look back. Like, especially in the third act, like Freya entering the scene, choking Odin, none of them notice until the camera shifts. So not surprised, but nobody looks that she's arriving. I mean, I guess you could say it's like, well, they don't want to give her away. That's maybe something.
I was going to say, like, yeah, it'll really depend on what kind of facial expressions you're getting, if any, because I know that their heads are facing down, right, when they hit with that spell.
Yeah. I mean, I can see that there might be some there. I would need to really look for it because that's something I didn't
happens
look
in
for.
Movies.
Yeah.
Where when characters are off camera, nobody knows they exist. It's really dumb. But I didn't notice that in this game, but it might be there.
Yeah, it might be there. I would need to check, but Throod holding the knife to Atreus as well happens, but he doesn't react until we see Throod. Ah, okay. Yeah, it's something I need to double check, but yeah, I don't doubt it's going to be in there to some degree. I guess when it happens, it's quick enough that you don't go like, that's weird. Yeah, fair enough. Payoff for the Frozen Thunder being Faye versus Thor. Yeah, it's good stuff. Is there a stream to watch Rag's thoughts on the game other than tomorrow? I don't think so. I would be surprised.
No, but don't you worry. That'll be definitive. In terms of Rags' thoughts, trust me.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Rags is quite celebratory of this game, but he's even said it's like this game is the game I have respected the most that I have no intention of ever playing.
That's great.
It's not even because he doesn't want to play it necessarily. It's just that he's consumed the story, and that was the more interesting part to him. So.
Yeah, that's fair.
And he didn't know that before. This is the first God of War game that he's even gone through. And to be fair, this isn't like it's not like all of them are like this.
Mm-hmm. They did the payoff that The Last of Us 2 tried to do at the end of the game, where you will kill someone when they have agency, but not when they don't. Yeah, I haven't played Last of Us 2, so I just have to believe you, unless someone else here in Discord wants to say no to that.
I'm not entirely sure how they're linking the two. So in The Last of Us 2, you basically spend the whole game wanting to kill Abby, and right at the end of the game, you realize, you know what, violence isn't good.
Okay.
It's very badly done. In this game, I guess they're saying, like, they all, Atreus, Kratos, and Freya all realize killing Odin, maybe that's not the best thing to do here. Maybe it's unnecessary, and then Sindri does it anyway. I feel like that's a very different payoff, but I guess it's making the same point, right? Like, why does Odin die there? It's like because he's already set in motion his own fucking fate by killing Brok.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is what they were arguing is happening in The Last of Us, right? Like, everybody's bringing about their own destruction by killing more people, but the irony, of course, being that the game sets out its rules in such a way that if Abby had simply killed Ellie, it would have been over.
Yeah, exactly. But then she didn't. And then consequently, all of her friends
thousands
died.
of people died.
Yeah, thousands of people, actually. Yeah.
Nice. James really wants me to play The Last of Us 1 and 2. Every time it comes up, it says, I need to buy Metal those games.
You should. It would be fun to watch you suffer after. You'd like Last of Us 1. You'd think it's mechanically a little bit thin, but the story's pretty solid, and then you'd fucking despise the second one.
I think that sounds about right. James even says MauLer said you had to. Fair enough.
Did I? I don't remember.
Maybe you did.
That makes sense.
I mean, you forced me to play all kinds of things and watch.
If I was to make videos on it, I would definitely have you do it then.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for the day where you make me play BioShock Infinite again.
One day.
MCU invented humor. It didn't exist before Iron Man. That's true. That is factual.
You know what's funny? My assessment, when someone says MCU humor, I'm like, either they mean quips or they mean when the humor comes in at the cost of drama, I assume.
Yeah.
And I asked a friend, when someone says MCU humor, what do you think they mean? And they were like, they're probably talking about how the jokes are often constructed in a way that doesn't necessarily have much to do with what the character is interested in or the tone of the scene. They just tell a joke because it's time for a joke. And I was like, you fucking kidding me? You've come up with a different definition than the two options I thought that they were talking about. Like, so whatever someone says it's got Marvel humor, I legit am like, tell me what you mean.
Yeah, because there's also very good Marvel humor. So, yeah, please tell me what you mean, as you said. Odin Tyr's eyes are doing work in that scene. I guess that's in the scene before he stabs Brok, I assume. Never really looked at the eyes. I always kind of see, like, yeah, he has Tyr's glowy eyes that he can use for the realm travel. Yeah,
well,
might have to look
fake,
at that.
right?
Yeah.
Like they look like the glowy eyes, but they're not the glowy eyes.
Yeah. Sopranos Odin is the GOAT, to change my mind. I really like what they did with him. I think it's pretty great. I don't even care about this criticisms, like they don't talk like they should do. It's like,
well, it's just weird that everyone's okay with Kratos, but they're not okay with, like, Kratos is you'd call that a transatlantic American accent, I think, right?
I don't know.
It's
pretty much.
It's not Greek.
No,
if you didn't know that.
Speaking Greek either.
So, like, yeah, just to be like, I hate that. It was really weird when someone said, like, I hate that it's American accents. It's like, I feel like at this point you're gonna. I don't know, man. Like, I'm totally on board with people being like, I would prefer it because it would feel more authentic. That feels like a real argument.
Mm-hmm.
But at this point, I'd just be like, I mean, everyone speaks with new modern speak and with accents that they have a preference for. The writers just like, I think, like, Mimir's obviously been chosen because that is quite a quirky and fun accent to have for the character that's being played there.
Yep.
Scottish because it's fucking quirky and fun, and he's fun to impersonate and tell jokes with. It's like, yeah, but he should be not that. I mean, funnily enough, I think they've justified him more than most characters. I think he said he implies he came from, like, Britain, basically, at one point in one of his pieces of dialogue.
Oh, okay, nice. I think Egypt or Asia will be next. It makes sense, and it also allows us to explore Tyr as a character, since we know he visited these realms. Yeah, I think when we get the next one, Tyr is definitely going to be involved to get us wherever we're gonna go, because he knows how to and probably can make us do those things.
I think they've done so much work. There's, like, more Freya, more Mimir, more Atreus, more Sindri, more tier is all a good choice, but they probably can't bring them all back because they're going to have new characters to do.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be too much if you get all of them. I want to keep Mimir. I think Mimir is going to stay around until his head explodes or something.
I feel like the only way they would stop him at this point is if the voice actor died or something, and then out of respect, they ended it, because Mimir is incredibly likable.
Yeah, and he's also tied to Kratos, quite literally.
And he's undead, so it's kind of...
And he's undead, yeah.
I think that the payoff you'd run with if you wanted to get rid of him is that he has to basically explain to Kratos that he can't live like this anymore.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which would be rough, but I could see them doing that. Yeah. Especially after he said there are different kinds of tired.
Yeah, right.
That's a bit of a thinky line.
Yeah. Grow a prophecy scene. Tyr's reaction to Tyr kills Odin is super interesting. Seen as a masterpiece of direction with 3 layers of misdirection running at the same time. Flawless or story breaks. Yeah. Wait, Tyr's reaction to Tyr kills Odin. Okay. Yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm not sure what that means.
Isn't that in Groa's Shrine when Tyr, like Odin, Tyr sees that Tyr kills Odin?
Oh, I didn't know that they knew it was Tyr that killed him. Didn't they say it's the champion? They weren't sure who the champion is.
Yeah, I guess that's one of the 3 layers of misdirection. It's part of it.
Or I'd have to look at because Tyr is represented oftentimes with the spear, right? Or what they assume is Tyr, but then that would turn out to be Kratos. I'd be curious if there's anything to draw there in terms of like the champion. Is it at this point essentially confirmed that Kratos was the champion? I assume so. Yeah, I'm not sure, but I wonder if there was any clue to it being Sindri. By the way, I don't know.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what we mean. It's like if you just go with a fine tooth comb, it's just like you find so many things. Yeah.
It's been a great misdirection, by the way, that they prophesize like Odin is killed by a hammer, and it's like Thor kills Odin, and you could even have Thor know that and be like, I like, and he's just like, I could never. That's bullshit. I would never ever do that.
Yeah.
And then we have that moment at the end where it's a fucking blacksmith hammer that kills him. It's just like, oh shit.
I think it's really dumb, the whole time travel thing. Why didn't Thor just do that to Kratos? I actually don't know.
I mean, you have to run with, I don't think Thor knew what happened when he did that.
Yeah, I guess that's all we can do.
Like the rumor or the assumption, it's a weird thing they throw in, but I'm assuming it's more so because it's Norse accurate that Jormungandr was sent back in time in his fight with Thor.
Okay.
I think that is, and then Thor dies of his wounds of Jormungandr's bite. I think that's how it's supposed to go.
Okay. Yeah, because I was about to say I don't even have anything to reference why that happened. It just kind of happens, and it's never mentioned again.
I'm pretty sure it's a mythology thing, and that's why they did it.
Okay.
But ultimately, yeah, you'd be like, that's a great power to wield. It's like, I think it's safe to assume, since it happens once, that Thor did not know that was a thing he could even do.
Yeah, probably. Mimir not knowing what an olive is was hilarious. Yes. What is an olive?
I quite liked the when Atreus says Vanaheim is really like, thick and wet. It's like it's really and then Kratos says Egros.
Egros, yeah.
And then he's like, what's that? And he's like, it's the Greek word for humid. And he's like, oh, I kind of like it. It's such a like evidence that he's so much more open about everything now.
Yeah.
He's owning it, and there's some cool stuff about Greek. And that starts all the way back in Tyr's temple, I would say, in the first game, right, where he's starting to open up.
Wait, Metal. That means we're all a little Kratos. Just a little bit. When you're wounded, you have to stop the bleeding or you die, and this is a distraction. Yeah. That's what he says to Atreus when he stops him from killing that deer. No, keep going. Talk about the game more. There's gonna be plenty more on the FFs tomorrow. Don't you worry. If I'll remember, I'll put actually there's a link to the MauLer channel and the MauLer channel. Just go there. It's gonna be all night or whatever your time is.
All day for me.
Good strumble, fellas. Look forward to tomorrow. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Yeah. I'm still desperately trying to get us all the references before we start up.
Yeah.
I've got us up to Kratos taking all his clothes off and have a little sleep. So the second Faye scene, that's where I'm at.
Yay! You're getting there.
I don't know if I can do it.
Let's see. Metal is going to blitzkrieg any God of War Ragnarok haters. Hey, just give me some good arguments, and I don't hate you. If you tell me it's woke, I'm gonna hurt your toes.
Whoa.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for them.
Okay
toes.
with this, Fringy? Fringy, you're not gonna disavow?
What hurt your toe? Sorry, I didn't catch.
Why don't you repeat yourself, Metal? Unless you don't want to get banned.
Oh, the super chat was Metal is going to blitzkrieg any God of War Ragnarok haters, and then I said, just give me good arguments. If you tell me it's woke, I'm gonna hurt your toes.
Hurt your toes? Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Metal's words, not mine. God.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it again.
Yeah, I disavow.
I avow. Metal will go Freya on anyone calling the game woke. Overall, despite the suspicious increase in women characters, the dwarves were still appropriately sized. 9 out of 10. True! I appreciate that the EFAB community look at the story instead of just claiming woke. There are a lot of crap writing out there there is a lot of crap writing out there to discuss. Yeah? There's that. It's just not very interesting to talk about.
To be fair, it's both ways. We also don't look at a story and go, fascist, or it promotes males, or male main character. Don't like it. Like wiping it all out.
Just like, can we just talk about stories without miring it in these weird lenses and rules that you invented?
Do the bins with all of that.
Yeah. Hey, I was super hyped for Ragnarok, and I was still like, I'm still kind of worried. Because I wasn't like, the other one was good, so this is going to be really good as well.
Doesn't work like that.
Just doesn't work like that.
Doesn't work like that anymore.
I've been hurt too much about this in my life now.
Yeah. Well, it seems to me that, like, 2018, when that came out, and to this day, kind of, it's still, like, it was just hyper controversial because of God of War's history and what that game did and stuff. But, I mean, it seems to me it won overall. Like, it seems like 2018's reputation is pretty solid overall. Pretty good. And I think that that's the fate for this game. This game is going to end up being considered pretty fucking good.
Absolutely. Yep. I think so too.
I think the worst that'll happen is people be like, but the mechanics though. And you're like, yeah, well, okay. I don't know, man. I think this game is actually given a pretty harsh treatment for its mechanics, considering everything.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't mind the mechanics. I think
stuff like Angraboda, for example, like it's just like, come on, dude, what is that representative of the whole game and of its effects and impact? And like, were you killing yourself when you got to that point? Was it that bad? There's no assassination. There's no inconsistencies for the most part. We'll get into that on the other stream. But yeah, like the biggest problem was that you were bored while doing it. And it's just like, God, that's as things go, right? Like.
Doing pretty good.
Go boring for like 5% of the entire story. So that's not bad. But of course, they might be like, no, I found loads of it boring. It's like, okay, fine.
Yeah. She mentions in the first flashback that when she and Kratos first met, they tried to kill each other. Oh, yeah, it says like we almost bashed our heads
Exactly,
in.
Mary Sue.
Yeah.
Mary Sue, because how can anyone even intend to battle Kratos at all and survive unless they're a Mary Sue? He's not a Mary Sue, by the way.
No.
By the way, I didn't want to imply that I think that. I just hate the way that we do this. It's like, who's a Mary Sue? Someone who's able to be powerful in several ways and is liked by several people. It's like, oh, well, Kratos became a Mary Sue at the end, huh?
Oh, damn it. Sad face. The prophecy told him he's gonna be a Mary Sue. Damn it, Kratos. You've betrayed us. Let's see. You guys gonna check out some God of War reviews? One that people talk about a lot, but by a YouTube channel called Under the Mayo. I heard about that channel lots of times and was never anything good, and I still haven't watched any of those videos.
Haven't seen it, so
yeah. I haven't seen any of the things. As I said, I was busy playing my game. It's been quite. I don't think I've been ever that enamored with a game before, where I was immediately like, I need to play it again because I want the context now. But I I think I'm happy to put down the PlayStation controller for a bit now and just let the game marinate in my brain juices and have it in the memory. And then I don't know, sometime next year I'm probably gonna revisit it. I can see that this is gonna be a game, or like 2018 and this game probably just gonna be like a yearly play. I don't know. I really like these games. I want to pass along a short cutscene bug clip I came across. Any way I could go about that? Discord maybe? Great stream anyway. Can't wait for the EFAP. I don't know. Probably on the Twitter machine is probably the easiest. That way I can just put it up on the screen. I guess. I don't know. Mimir mentions he traveled a lot before Odin and references things like King Arthur and several Shakespeare plays. Ah, very cool. Yeah, cool. He's been around as well. Pretty neat. And I think that's all of the chats of the supers. We did it. Good stuff. Yeah, that was fun stuff. Got a little prelude, what we thought about the game. It's gonna be more details tomorrow on the FFs. Gonna be at the. Oh, there's 2 more super chats. I'm gonna grab those in a little bit. Let's see here. Let's see. Let's see. How to take Gary and Trigger's criticism seriously when they're often through the lens of this thing's woke? Are they just right on accident if woke is such a nebulous term?
Well, no, I mean, like I already said, Drinker, his whole perspective on this game is let me play it, and that he's played the first 2 hours and he's baffled by the idea that people are like shouting woke already. So like he's a normal dude that's just looking to see. I'm assuming, because this thing is it's dependent on definitions. Everyone in chat right now might have a different definition for this. It usually seems to mean the writing is suffering because of a goal the writer has that relates to like their values, and it's like stumbling into all this awkward and terrible shit. The easy one for this is Batwoman, right? It's like it's these really awkward scenes where they try and tell you what they believe to be true, and it like we on EFAP categorize it how we categorize every writing flaw that comes through, just like this. The example I always give is Michael Bay. He like prioritizes action and explosions and stuff, and a lot of the time the story has to bend in order to have that be the set piece or something at the time. It's the exact same thing. When the story has to come first, it has to be the guiding force. It can't be something else. It can't be like, I gotta have it so that I see as many pink unicorns as possible. It's like, well, that's a weird goal, but obviously these days a lot of people are very polarized, for lack of a better term. We got a lot of discussions in the old element and media and culture war stuff, and so yeah, it's I guess woke versus anti-woke, and the evidence is in the shitty writing, and it goes both ways. You get your movies that are agenda driven, but in all kinds of directions, and it's not something that we say like is something you can't create a standard for and notice. It's just that we find it awkward when you've got really good writing, and then people are like, yeah, but it's got an agenda or something like that. Especially when like you save animals, people are like, this is environmentalism or something. It's like, I'm sorry. I don't even know what to do with that. I'm just like, there's so many games where like that's just an obvious sort of like thing you do just to create a scenario.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. This is what I mean. I need to know first of all what they mean by it, and then we'll see. Because I said this on my stream. People were like relating that it's like, you know, Gary would hate it as woke stuff. It's like Gary liked Hot D. He criticized it for the race swap, but he saw that the actor was pretty solid and it didn't destroy the story. So he was like, it's fine. And I was trying to say, a race swap alone isn't usually indicative enough. You need more than that. And so everyone's saying like Angraboda evidence, like, well, anything else, or is it just that she was black? And obviously, you don't want to be caught saying no. It's just that she's black.
Yeah, you really don't want
to. No, you don't.
Then it gets really awkward.
Well, it's just like, oh, okay.
Yeah, it's like, oh. People stressed. Mortal, you skipped my member milestone message. It was if it's contrived that even Freya couldn't figure out Tyr was Odin. I don't think so. I think he's done a very good job of holding it down.
He tricked everybody. He tricked the whole audience.
There was a couple of things, but a lot of them only make sense in retrospect.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I caught on my second playthrough is that the first time they meet, Tyr immediately calls her Frigg. And I was like, oh yeah, he probably just knew her that way because who knows how long they've been there.
Your brain is your worst enemy with this shit. So I swear to God, as soon as you pause and then read back a thing to someone, they might be like, oh yeah, wait a minute, that is weird. When it's all in the moment, you just like, you're doing all kinds of weird, because you know him to be this fragile pacifist, kind of annoying idiot guy who's ripping into everyone's ideas just because they relate to maybe killing someone or war. So he almost floats in the background, but he's poisoning all the conversations. And yeah, Brok's listening, and all you need to do is, when he says something like, and yet Odin held up his part of the deal, everyone's moving on, but you're kind of like, wait, say that again?
Say that? Why would you say that? Aren't you an
And then saying like, you know, hey, it's dangerous for Atreus to be anywhere right now, so yeah, why not Asgard? It's like, I'm sorry, what? Like that?
Mm-hmm.
But when the conversations flow, like in that moment, you see Kratos look at him like taking that in for a second, but Atreus is already moving on to the next point. Yeah, so it's just like, okay. Because, you know, you may these lines do come across as strange, but you're never going to be like, oh, it's Odin. No one's doing that.
Yeah.
It's and so yeah, it's right in plain sight, and everyone feels bad for Tyr. Do you remember when Mimir's like, you know, Atreus is like, I got to get to Odin to prevent something bad from happening, and he's like, something bad did happen. Look at me. Look at Tyr. Look at Freya.
Yeah.
Like Tyr is seen as this, as he even describes himself, a burden. But it's not an unfair one. It's a guy who was tortured for several hundreds of years, who's now only got a slight home, and he's desperate for everyone to not fight each other. It's the kind of person that you tolerate, you find annoying, but you feel bad for. And Odin used it perfectly. Yeah. But Brok didn't give a shit. Brok never gives a shit. He'll speak as plainly as Kratos put it to anybody at anything.
Yeah.
And I just love the fact that he would have been working his forge and seeing him come in and out of that stupid fucking broom closet with no items to speak of. So when he's like, I just need to grab a few things, he's like, you don't have any things. What are you talking about? You're lying. Yeah. It's great because other characters might be like, I don't know if he has things. Why are you being so mad? Like, leave Tyr alone. And then Tyr pulls out a fucking knife. You're like, holy shit.
Oh, God. Yeah. Also, the member milestone that was not here in the super chats, can I see them somewhere else? I actually don't know. I thought they would just pop up in here with it. Because I did see that milestone coming in, but it's not here in super chats and stickers. Do you know where I can find those mutually? If you can, by any chance?
What was that? Sorry.
The milestone chats. They're not in the super chat list.
Oh, that is a really fucking annoying thing. So they've implemented it, which is a cool thing, that when you like subscribe as a member, you can add a message, but it doesn't show up in the fucking super chat thing, which is really bad because the one you get in the YouTube studio, sometimes it like memory bleeds or whatever and just dies, and so you can't get access to that message. You don't know where it went. You have to go into the stream.
Oh, cool.
Really. Like, YouTube, why?
Just put it in there. Just put it in the same list.
Yeah, just put it in the fucking super chat messages. What's wrong with you?
That's annoying. Sorry, Pooty, that I missed that. Because I saw it coming in, so I was just confused. Let's see. Not to mention there's games that's good while having a message. Example, Subnautica doesn't have lethal guns because the studio's anti-gun, but it's good. Oh, interesting. I didn't even know that.
I feel like the best example would be BioShock. People argue to this day, is BioShock anti a particular political point of view, or is it more so just about human nature in general? Yeah. And I think we're having that discussion because people enjoyed the fuck out of that game.
Yeah.
It's not happening just because it's like an objective view of what every statement made in that game is. It's that people want to defend it as being something that's not necessarily against their political beliefs because they enjoyed what the game had to say. So this comes up a lot. I think that God of War is so much about humanity and not at all about any particular political party. It's like, you got to be joking.
Yeah. I'll just restate the milestone question. When she paranoid of everyone since she was married to Odin and knows he can shapeshift.
But I don't know how much he was doing shapeshifting at any point. Was that ever referenced? Like, typically speaking, I know that Thor shapeshifted at one point, right? Or did Odin pretend to be someone's dad? I think there was something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but, I'm not sure. But I just, as we already said, he did like a pretty good job of keeping that facade up and people moving on to things he said. And also, I think Mimir just kind of backs him up as well, as you also said. It's like, yeah.
Oh, it's so sad because that's the biggest one he tricks, I think, is Mimir, because Mimir feels like he is him.
Yeah, yeah.
They have the exact same history, essentially, right? Like, they were tortured and captured, betrayed, and they're trying to deal with their new circumstances.
Yeah,
I feel really bad because I know that Mimir would feel like shit for not picking that up.
Yeah, because he also goes like, "Oh, you didn't deserve to be treated like this, Tyr." And I think Tyr Odin says back, "Yeah, you neither," or something, or the other way around. They have that kind of conversation. I don't remember the exact line, but yeah, it's pretty good. And that was the last one of the super chats. This was fun. I enjoyed that. As I said, little prelude for tomorrow. I say little, it was still 3.5 hours or something.
Just small little.
It's probably going to be a multiple of that because there's also more people. So it's going to be
6 people, and I'm already, like, the section I had ready is like 4 hours long, and it's not even all of it.
Oh, good. I'm going to have a nice long sleep and prepare mentally. Longest. But yeah, hey guys, thank you for joining me. That was good stuff. You guys got anything going on you wanna tell the good people in the interworlds about?
EFAP tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I'm also I don't have anything at the moment, just working.
All right.
Working my ass off to get all this ready, so that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. Well, my plan was to play Callisto Protocol, but that kind of was thrown under the bus now. So I don't know. Maybe I'll just
that sucks.
Maybe I'll just play Demon Souls Remaster finally. I don't know, but yeah, before that, EFAP tomorrow, of course. And then I'm just gonna see what's going on. More Gorming streams. That's definitely gonna happen to some degree. So I don't know. I'll probably just jump onto that then. Yeah. EFAP tomorrow. The links of the lads are downstairs in the section of the informations. Click them or I'll hurt your toes again. Yeah, I said it again. I told you I said it again.
Jeez.
Yeah. Got the setup and the payoff. The parallels like Ragnarok. I am good writing. I don't know. Anyway, thank you all for hanging out. Thanks for the super chatteroonies and all that good stuff. And yeah, I'll catch you all tomorrow.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.